Jonathan Taylor. There he goes again. 50, 40, down the far sideline. He might do it again. 10, 5, touchdown. INDY.
The Eastern Conference Championship has been captured by the Indiana Pacers.
Alex Pillow wins the 109th Indianapolis 500.
This is the Fan Morning Show with KB, JB, and Jeff.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome into the Fan Morning Show. I was just reminded as Kevin Bowen is decked out in green that it's St. Patrick's Day today, in which immediately James Boyd said, you'd be surprised to know that I'm not Irish. So Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing very good. Not feeling the luck of the Irish this morning with the snow on the ground, but we made it, boys.
It's like Winnipeg out there, right? Just dry, blowing snow all over the place, frozen tundra. How would you describe it? Winnipeg, does that work for you?
Sure. I've never been, but yeah, it's ugly. It's horrific. I'm ready for Friday when it's 70 degrees. Mark Dykton, thank you for wearing some green today.
No problem. It was cold. I had to take the hoodie off, but I'm like, okay, we're in warm conditions now. I can strip down a little bit.
You look great in there, but please don't strip down anymore.
Yeah,
I was gonna say he's used to stripping.
I always use the excuse that I have green eyes. Does that work, Mark, or not?
No,
you have to actually
pinched.
wear green.
Someone's gonna pinch you today.
Since like 6th grade.
So I feel like I'm back in elementary school.
Good morning, everyone. It is a Tuesday. We've got a lot going on. Not long after we got off the show yesterday, Butler announced that Thad Matta will not be returning for a 5th season. Thad saying that he's going to retire, but some of his comments down the stretch kind of felt like he was getting more and more uncomfortable with this new day and age of NIL. Hadn't quite made his peace with how that's all going to work, and no NCAA tournament appearances in 4 years. And he just kind of sounded a little worn down by the end of the year, Kevin. And I'm not so sure that Butler didn't want like fresh legs to start moving forward. So it kind of felt to me like maybe it was kind of a mutual thing, but I don't know that Thad's all that disappointed. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Hall of Fame coach, there's no denying that. Incredible run, particularly obviously at Ohio State. I guess you could say maybe getting things started at Butler as well. But yes, I would say more than often when we talked with him, I got done with the interview thinking to myself, that man does not sound like someone that wants to be a part of this era of college basketball. And I get it. There's a lot going on. Clearly, physically, he's dealt with a lot too. You know, that was a part of it, the end of his Ohio State tenure. For anybody that watches Butler play or goes to Butler games, you know, he's laboring. And so, when Grant Linedecker came out and it was like, yeah, Thad's coming back, I kind of was just like, okay, but I took him at his word. he's coming back. And then I guess after the Big East tournament, he thought about it for a few more days and decided to hang it up. So I'm fascinated to see what direction Butler moves in because it's such a critical juncture for them with their standing in the Big East and obviously the resources that need to be a little bit more aplenty within that basketball program. And quite a pivotal time for Grant Linedecker making his first big hire.
Yeah, and you used a great word there. You and I both attended the last home game in which, things were looking good, and then all of a sudden, right out of the gate in the second half, Creighton just kind of put it on him. But even physically, we could hear it in his voice kind of as we did the interviews, to your point. But physically, it looked like he was wearing down a little bit, too. He looked like it was hard for him to get up and down the sidelines at times.
Yeah, and yes, that is a part of it, but also his words. I mean, anytime he chatted with us or post-game press conferences, I think he made it clear. There's one question was asked during the year, I forget, January, February. One of us asked him something about the state of college basketball, and he kind of like met us and was like, oh, you mean minor league pro basketball? Like, that's kind of what
yeah.
And so, again, whether it's Jay Wright or whether it's, Coach K, Mike Bray, Tony Bennett, all these coaches that have hung it up here in recent years. And someone might say, man, age-wise, boy, they still feel like they could get it done. It's a new age. And I can understand if I had 500 wins on my resume and a couple Final Fours and a million conference tournament titles, I'd probably not want to coach either.
Well, that's where we're at today. It is St. Patrick's Day, and Butler now starts to look for a new head coach and a guy that was one of his assistants back at the very beginning, right around the turn of the century, coaching at Akron right now, having some success over there. What do you guys think about John Gross maybe returning to Butler, be a head coach for the Bulldogs? Is that a target?
I don't see it necessarily because he's had so much success at Akron, and I get that Butler has at least in the past, like the Final Four runs and national championship game runs. But I don't see like a huge difference between the two programs, quite honestly.
I suppose the Butler folks would tell you that with the right guy at the helm, they've shown what's possible. Back-to-back Final Fours, a spot in the national championship game.
Yeah, I don't think anybody at Butler would sit here and want to say that their program's on par with Akron. I think from a conference standpoint and a TV contract standpoint, they are two very different conferences. Miami of Ohio struggled to even get in the tournament, being in that conference with a 35-1 record, whatever it ended up being, 33-1. So I do think it would be an upgrade for John Gross to come to Butler. A guy that I would look into is P.J. Thompson at Purdue. When you talk about Indy ties, you talk about someone that Matt Painter has given unbelievable decision-making with that offense, the best offense in college basketball, and has been through, the Edey era and now the post-Edey era. It's a little bit of a flyer. Obviously, it's a first-time head coach, but he was someone that kind of popped in my mind. I would assume Ronald Norred is probably viewed as the favorite, just given Grant Leindecker's ties, given Gordon Hayward now as the new GM. I would assume Norred would be the guy that would be atop the list currently with the Atlanta Hawks. But he was definitely a name that, a lot of people I think mentioned yesterday, but P.J. Thompson's kind of a unique one for me.
Does Travis Steele make that short list for you at all?
I don't know. It sounds there's maybe a little bit more to that story with him at Butler than the obvious of like, oh, here's your alum and he's having a lot of success right now. I don't know. It doesn't sound like it's as much of a layup as it would look like on paper.
So that's one of the things we're going on. Also, speaking of coaching changes, this is a little bit of a shock to me. Garrett Winiger leaving Fishers to go take over a prep school in Iowa that's part of that Nike kind of circuit and league where he'd be coaching the freshmen and sophomores, and Keith Smart is coaching the juniors and the seniors. Chance to obviously coach some unbelievably talented players that play on a national scale from a high school perspective, but also, man, what a great thing he had going over there at Fishers, a state championship, a runner-up last year, got upset this year, great success there. James, surprised at all that he has taken a job like that at this point in time?
A little surprised because looking at what that senior class has done at Fisher, you still got one more year with them if you're looking at guys like Cooper Zachary and the Gardner kid as well. So you would think, oh, this is like, I honestly thought if there was ever going to be a change, it would be after next season when those guys are on their way out. I mean, you look at his resume, what is it, 3 losses in 3 years for Garrett over at Fishers, which is unbelievable, 1 state championship, and obviously the last 2 playoff losses by 1 point each. So built it up quite high, and now I would honestly say with him on the way out, that becomes the hottest job in the state.
Yeah, no question about that. And other coaching changes we'll talk about at the high schools a little bit later on. I also want to remind everybody, while you look outside, I'm trying to give you some spring fever and hope, Kevin. It's always good to think about golf, right? Even when you look outside in a morning like this, it's always good to be thinking about golf, right?
I like that.
April 30th, we have the Fan Invitational 2026 Golf Outing presented by Franciscan Health. It'll be certainly sunny and 70 that day. Are you going to guarantee that, Kevin? April 30th?
If there's no financial guarantee associated with it, yes, I will.
Your chance to hang out with us for 18 holes of golf jam. V will be there. Jake will be there. Mark Dykton is going to end up being there as well. Eddie Garrison will make his way out there. Everybody will be out checking it out, and we'll have a really good time out there. And I think, Matt Taylor said he's going to be the official starter. Tucker Barnhart said he's looking at putting a group together. We got some other celebrities that we're lining up as well. Just come out, have a good time with us. First of all, it's a great golf course down at Legends. That's terrific. They got, 27 holes down there?
Yes, 27 holes.
And always great 18 holes of golf with them. Compete in multiple hole-in-one contests. We'll have the longest drive contest. Last year, you were on which hole hitting drives for folks?
I was on hole 15.
15. I was going to say 16, but it was 15, right? And you can take advantage of free cancer screenings that'll be on site, courtesy of the Franciscan Health Cancer Center. All you got to do is go to 1075thefan.com, register today. You can do it as an individual. You can do it as a foursome. Your choice, but we are going to have a really good time out there. April 30th. Take the day off work. Enjoy spring. Enjoy golf. Even James Boyd's going to be out there. You're going to at least hit the range and hit some golf balls?
I mean, what I do does not qualify as hitting, but hopefully I make contact.
Kevin will spend 5 minutes with you, and you'll be a pro after 5 minutes, right, Kevin?
Kevin's seen the golf swing. It's going to take more than 5 minutes.
No, again, I'm not going to commit to the financial guarantee on the weather, nor will I commit to that for James Boyd.
All right. Mark, anything else you want to drop in for opening salvos here this morning?
Not really. Just survive the snow and everything. I thought the snow brush got put to bed. Apparently not.
No, and it's not one of those accumulations of snow, obviously, when you wake up. It's just that dry stuff that blows all the way around, and it's kind of accumulated on your sidewalk a little bit, and you can easily blow it off your windshield, just, kind of big old deep breath and blow it out, and you'll be fine. But it's just cold. It's just not what we had. After last week, it's not what I was looking for. I thought maybe we had turned the corner, but I should know better in Indiana, right?
I was going to say, welcome to the Midwest.
Yeah, well, I've been here for a while. It never changes. So, all right, coming up in a moment, we'll give you the check down. We've also got a lot of basketball on the way. It is day one of the NCAA tournament with the, I don't know, do we call them play-in games anymore? Did the NCAA really stand up and say, no, these are actual NCAA tournament games? How do they classify these now?
I do not call it day one of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
Sorry to Howard, Lehigh, Texas.
Well, I do.
NC State, whoever's playing
It
tonight.
counts. It counts as the NCAA tournament appearance. Let's get on.
All right, we'll talk about it next as we continue at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, Kevin Bowen. How you doing today?
I'm great. I'm glad that someone remembered that it was St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, James and I are slacking on the wearing the green today.
As I said, I have a built-in excuse, literally. I'll leave it at that.
What shirt are you rocking over there with green? I can only see the green sleeve, Mark.
An Oregon shirt I got back when I was in Oregon.
Okay.
Years ago.
And yours is a version of Notre Dame memorabilia, right?
It is not.
No?
My Uncle Tad got this for me when he visited over there. It is a Ireland rugby kit.
I got it, but it's got the shamrocks on it. That's why I was a little thoughtful there. So good job out of you. You did rock at the Notre Dame, although blue and gold, stocking cap today. So you got
Very
that
cold
going on.
outside.
It is, no question about
Can we
that.
see some rugby highlights from you? Are you going to show us some moves?
You'd be driving me to Methodist if there were any rugby highlights of me.
Thad Matta has decided to hang it up after a terrific career as a college basketball coach. Although his return to Butler wasn't as successful as anybody would have hoped, no NCAA appearances in the last 4 years, but he does leave after surpassing 500 wins as a college basketball coach. That is outstanding. Great stints around the region, Ohio State, Xavier, certainly Butler on a couple of occasions, and just a good man, good coach. You heard other coaches singing his praises. It was Danny Hurley that was really singing his praises not that long ago. But, Kevin, as you and I discussed in the opening segment there, he's a man that looked like he was not willing to do all the stuff at NIL and never really got comfortable with this new way of doing business in college basketball.
Yeah, I mean, his words are very clear. I think that he didn't love having to operate in this era. And, there was part of me that would hear those comments and think to myself, boy, I'm almost surprised that he's wanting to do this, particularly with the physical issues that he's been dealing with. So, I think, in a way, this is probably a good thing, probably the best situation for Butler. Butler needs an injection of life. It's not like Thad was going to coach for 5-10 more years. They need some financial life, clearly. And sometimes a new coach can provide that. It can reinvigorate, whatever, alumni base, boosters, et cetera, et cetera. So I'll be very curious to see who Butler puts on that short list there and how Grant Linedecker and Gordon Hayward go about handling this hire.
It'll be interesting to see exactly what they do. And again, the list of possible replacements, you had a great rundown of those just a moment ago. I had suggested maybe John Gross, who's having a terrific year at Akron, had been a Thad Matta assistant back in the early 2000s. But you said even look a little bit closer to the current administration for a possible replacement, right?
Well, Ronald Norad, I think, is an obvious one, given Grant Linedecker played with him, given Gordon Hayward, of course, played with him. Now Gordon's back as the GM. Any other names, James, Jeff, any other name? I mean, I've mentioned several. Any other names that you
I
guys
threw
like?
Travis Steele out there, but you're not sure that that's the right fit.
Yeah, I haven't given it too much thought. I really, honestly, when I heard about the announcement, I just went back to like the Ohio State days for Thad Matta, which was kind of like my growing up, coming of age era. So, yeah, I'm thinking of a lot of the good teams that he had, man, and he had some. Those were that to me was probably what he remembers or will cherish perhaps the most about his career, because that was the old way of doing things with NCAA basketball, where guys kind of stayed and you didn't have so much movement year to year.
Good man.
If you want to go with one more name too and keep it kind of in the Butler tree, Cam Woods. I think Butler fans will certainly remember that name. Forward, I guess, center for them. In the last decade or so, he's had a very nice run in the NBA with the Thunder. He was actually the Thunder's G League coach at one point. And I think Mark Dagnall has now called him up to be an assistant. So I think he's on the big NBA bench with them. Again, the college game, the college ties, that's not necessarily there from a coaching standpoint, but he's had a really nice NBA career and he's still very young. So is that something they would look into if they want to try and, hey, let's, keep it a Butler guy, but at the same time, get someone that obviously has had a ton of coaching experience.
Like I said, good man, good coach. We're going to miss Coach Thad Matta. He is retiring at Butler. All right, Indiana Pacers return to the floor tonight. They'll be in Madison Square Garden. Who knows, James? They seem to be a thorn in the Knicks' side. I love that. I guess it depends on who's going to play and how long they play tonight, right?
I guess so, but they seem to always give the Knicks a good game, so I wouldn't be surprised if this one goes down to the wire.
I have not seen an updated injury report or listing for tonight's game. Have either of you seen anything in the last 12, 14 hours on that?
No, I have not.
All
Yeah,
right.
Pascal Siakam doubtful, and then a slew of dudes are questionable. So, again, it's a back-to-back, so we'll see how the Pacers handle the next 2 nights. But this is a game that every Pacer fan can hold hands and say, I want to win this game. It's the Knicks. You've lost 13 in a row. You can afford to win a game or two. Everybody in unison together. St. Patrick's Day victory in Madison Square Garden.
That would be beautiful. Pacers will play again tomorrow at home against Portland, then back out onto the road for a San Antonio matchup on Saturday. They are 15-53, a game and a half worse than Washington right now, 2.5 games worse than Sacramento, but they're starting to build up a cushion on that fourth placed losing team right now. So we'll see how the next week or two play out. We mentioned it in the opening segment, but Garrett Winiger is leaving Fishers after a state title 2 years ago, a state runner-up last year, 132-25 during his time at Fishers. And you had pointed out, James, only 3 losses in 3 years.
Yeah, quite the program he had helped build over there in Fishers. Wishing the best moving forward. And whoever takes over for him will certainly have a lot of pressure on their plate because, again, they only lost when it was in the playoffs the last 2 years. And that, I think that class with Cooper Zachary and the son of, was it Jason Gardner?
Yep.
He's as well. He's going to be a big-time player as well. So got to figure out if they can get it done next year.
Winiger is leaving for an Iowa prep school that is in the Nike EYBL circuit. He'll be coaching the freshmen and sophomores. Keith Smart, the Indiana alum, was coaching the juniors and seniors at that school in Iowa. Meanwhile, the Indianapolis Colts.
I'll just add one more thing.
Yeah.
I think elephant in the room would be does Cooper Zachary and Jason Gardner Jr. stay? You know,
He did.
Even in high school, you never know.
I think that's the day and age we live in. Frankly, we've had a lot of notable seniors that have not had coaching changes within their high school go there. Does one of them go to Iowa United Prep or whatever the place is called with Garrett? So maybe I'm being too cynical with that, but that's a thought that I had when I saw that.
Jason Cooper, I'll come coach you. Stay put.
Colts still holding steady as is right now. James, are we going to see anything from the Colts in the next week or so?
I'm just mad I didn't get enough, vote of confidence from the room there.
No, I got it.
We'll get it done. We'll win every game. I mean, everyone says it's so easy with so much talent, right? But jokes aside, I do wish them the best and I hope they do stay for my viewing pleasure. But as far as the Colts go, yeah, I put out an updated depth chart this morning, actually, on The Athletic. Feel free to check that out. We can talk about it here on the show as well. But there hasn't, to me, the moves you were supposed to make, you did make when it comes to retaining your top 2 players in Alec Pierce and Daniel Jones. But the holes in your roster just haven't been addressed yet. And it's hard for me to see how you're going to really upgrade without having very many options in free agency left. I mean, you can't address every need in the draft. So they're kind of in like neutral right now.
And Kevin, you had said it last week. It just feels like defensively the Colts have done a lot of depth building as much as anything. And they're still missing a replacement for Michael Pittman Jr. at wideout at this point in time. So it's hard to say that they've gotten any better from where they were even healthy in the middle of the year, right?
Yeah, James, maybe we can go over that next segment of, they've probably lost, 5-6 starters just on paper here since last season. Would you say that the replacement for any of those already in-house? Would you say they need to be found outside the building? Because, yes, right now they have not done much. Yeah, honestly, it's had the feel of an old Chris Ballard free agency where it's just kind of a relatively quiet first week, and we'll see how he operates moving forward. But, yeah, it's been very quiet.
All right, other NFL news. The Jets have traded quarterback Justin Fields to Kansas City for a 2027 sixth-rounder. Fields could be their starting quarterback for a couple of weeks before Patrick Mahomes recovers from that ACL injury, James.
You think so?
I don't know.
Look at the
What else?
timeline, but I don't hate the move. I mean, I saw people kind of trolling it online and saying, "Oh, is he going there to start?" Like, no. But I think if you have to have a spot starter, Justin Fields is a fine person to have behind Patrick Mahomes. I see no issue with that.
And insurance, Kevin, in case Mahomes is not ready for the start of the regular season, right?
Yeah, I'm with James. I thought it made some sense there. They finally have stopped the Colts backup quarterback train there of Gardner Minshew and Carson Wentz in Kansas City. And obviously, what does that mean for Anthony Richardson? I would assume I'd have to look. Justin Fields probably has a little bigger cap hit than Richardson, but still, does this mean you're looking at something that is 6th round or later? That would be a question that I would have.
All right. WBC baseball championship tonight. Mark Dykton, Venezuela rallying to beat Italy 4-2. They kept the Italy bats at bay last night. And so it's on to Team USA for all the marbles later on tonight. Did you find it interesting that the Padres have said they haven't decided whether or not to let closer Mason Miller play in this game for Team USA tonight? Thought that was interesting.
I mean, he's brought you to this point. What's one more game?
San Diego Padres, they've got some financial investment. I guess they just want to make sure there's no undue use on that arm in spring.
This is for America.
Yeah.
You would think so. That comes your way later on tonight. Also, Team USA Women and Caitlin Clark. They will play Spain at 5 p.m. in Puerto Rico this afternoon. You can watch that one. Anybody have Sling TV?
I do not have Sling TV,
No,
but
I do not.
I have many avenues to watch this game.
All right. How will you be watching it tonight?
The internet.
Okay.
A lot of places you can
You just
figure it out.
asking the FBI to knock on James's door.
I know.
It's all legal, though, right, Jim?
Hey, I'm just saying we're going to like, hey, snitching on the show. Snitches get stitches, Jeff.
One note in the NBA, Steve Kerr became the fourth fastest coach to win 600 games last night as Golden State got a win over Washington. Kristaps Porzingis scored 30 points. You guys name the three ahead of him for fastest to reach 600 wins?
Red Auerbach on that list.
Red is not.
Pat Riley?
Pat Riley is second.
Phil Jackson.
He's number one. Think Steve Kerr's mentor.
Is it Greg Popovich?
Greg Popovich is the third fastest to get to 400 or 600.
Not bad.
There you go. Anything else you guys want to throw in before we head to
Yeah,
break?
again, playing games tonight. So it's UMBC. Shout out to the Retrievers and their upset a few years back over Virginia. They got Howard, so that'll be True TV at 6:40. And then Texas NC State. Obviously, the local tie in that one would be one Cam Heide for the Texas Longhorns there. He has pretty much just played a reserve role for them. Basically doing what he did at Purdue last season and probably making a little bit more money, but not going to be winning as much as Purdue has won. So, yeah, Texas, NC State, that's the second game. That's a little Will Wade, Sean Miller, right?
Yeah.
Boy.
It's the FBI Bowl, right?
Yeah, you get a lot of wiretaps in that Dayton locker room.
Kevin is not lying, James. He's not lying about that one right there. All right, that's what's happening in the world of sports. We will talk a little bit about the Colts, what they've done, what they haven't done, what they need to do, and we'll take your comments as well at 239-1070. It's the Fan Morning Show, 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Good morning, Mark Dykton. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Give me a green beer.
I'm surprised you don't have one in your little cup back there.
Jameson would be nice too. I'm not opposed.
Would you be shocked, Kevin Bowen, if he's rocking a little Jameson or green beer back there?
No, I would ask him if he had another cup. Because frankly, you look outside right now and you need it.
Yeah, warm your bones.
There you go. I like that.
You might need both.
He said, warm your bones.
It's the Fan Morning Show, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. We've got James Boyd. We've got Kevin Bowen, who is dressed appropriately for St. Patrick's Day today. And Mark Dykton also rocking an Oregon T-shirt, of all things.
Oregon strong is what it says. I think. No, Mighty Oregon. That's what it says.
Boy.
I think
Reading
Oregon
was not on the list of things that Mark Dykton does well growing up.
You know, the kids are sleeping. I'm like, I know I have a green shirt in here somewhere. I'm digging through it. I'm just reaching. I'm like, there it is. Throw it on. I'm like, I don't have to read it. Let everybody else read it.
When I see Oregon now, I think that's to me kind of where Indiana this past year really turned the corner, and I thought to myself, man, this could be something happening here for the Indiana Hoosiers. They started building on that. They built on the Iowa road win. Then they built on the Oregon road win.
That was a glorious campus, the Oregon campus. If you've never been, I would encourage you to see what the Nike money can buy you. It's quite a lot.
They always say it never rains in Eugene on a football Saturday, and every time I've been there on a football Saturday, it rains. So there you go.
That's just you then. You got some bad juju or something. You don't have any shimmer.
You an Irish car bomber, Mark?
Sure. Back in the day.
Boy, I can just feel it sit in my stomach.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 5-course meal when you consume.
Oh, you know
those.
it. Cutting into a beer like a Guinness or something. Oh yeah.
You look at you were lost there in thought. I looked over and you were like in a blissful state.
I just assumed you're probably not much of an Irish car bomber. Is that correct?
I'm probably not much of a drinker anyway, either way around. So.
I've never heard of that until 2 seconds ago.
It probably weighs as much as James Boyd when it sits there in your stomach after consuming that.
Doesn't sound pleasant.
So you're a bad influence on me, Kevin. You got me to drink beer on Carb Day last year.
To me, it sounds like a holiday. It doesn't sound like a bad influence at all there. But yeah, I can't wait. What do we? You look outside right now and you think, boy, Carb Day, come on, here we go.
I was having conversations with somebody up in promotions yesterday about Carb Day. We're already looking forward to that. In the meantime, the Indianapolis Colts, like everybody else, trying to navigate the offseason. They did get their quarterback back. They signed Daniel Jones to a 2-year deal. Then they signed Alec Pierce. Well, they signed him first to a 4-year deal. And then they've made various and sundry moves after that, James. But here's the question. Have they filled the holes they needed to fill appropriately? And have they done enough to be a better team in 2026 than they were in 2025?
No, right now. And honestly, when I was going through the depth chart this morning and last night, boy, it is bleak when you look at the linebackers and the defensive ends in particular. Linebacker right now, Kevin, my projected starters at the moment are Jalen Carlisle and Austin Ajayki. Like, that cannot happen. Neither one of those guys should start. And you have to find – they don't even have a starter right now on the team.
Is John Bullock the only other linebacker on the roster right now?
I mean, they have others on the roster. But –
who? John Bullock?
He's on the team. And that's the whole point.
Never even heard of him.
That's
Joseph Vaughn.
Right.
But the point is they need a lot of help when it comes to that position in particular, and obviously defensive end as well. I listed Arden Key as the other starter opposite of Laiatu Latu, but he should not be a starter. And again, I'll be fair to the Colts. You have plenty of free agency left. I don't know what's out there. And you have the draft, but my concern is that you have so many needs that you necessarily can't fill all of them via the draft and the latter stages of free agency. And I know people have been talking about, okay, we'll trade for Jonathan Gennard. To Kevin's point from throughout yesterday's show and really the last week or so, you think Chris Ballard's going to give up another top 100 pick to go get a defensive end? I don't hate the idea, but again, the means do not meet the demands right now for this team.
Yeah, Ballard is really not I'd argue hasn't really taken many risks this offseason, like financially so far. I think when you get these GMs that are whatever, the final year of the contract like Ballard is, or you feel like he's on a scorching hot seat, you might do some things that mortgage stuff for the future. You might, whatever, be more willing to make those trades. You might be more willing to say, hey, we got to spend and spend and spend. We got to spend early. We got to try and get this roster in as great of a short-term shape as possible because I need to, survive to get to 2027 and beyond. And really, they haven't operated in that manner. Again, to me, it has a feel of a prior offseason, which, you can look at it one of two ways. If you're a Colts fan, part of you might say, well, I appreciate that they haven't, necessarily mortgage stuff for the future. I have a feeling more people would say this is just typical Ballard, and this is going to be a big reason why, when it's all said and done, his tenure does not live up to, anywhere near certainly the Jim Irsay hype when he was hired. So, again, it really has a feel to me of like 2021s, 2022, 2023 of like, wait a minute, are you not going to use this time of year where it is the one real true week where you have accomplished professionals, albeit big money contracts, but you have them available to you?
You start to look at the offense as well, and we mentioned that has there really been a replacement for Michael Pittman Jr.? Probably not. They're expecting Alec Pierce to be a number one type receiver at this point in time. We know that Tyler Warren's coming back. He had a terrific, first 2/3 of the season, and then after Daniel Jones got hurt and there were different quarterbacks, his production started to wane just a little bit. Don't know that it was necessarily his fault, all of it. But then Josh Downs, Ashton Doolin, that's your receiving core right now. How you feel about that?
I don't necessarily hate it, Jeff. And I view Tyler Warren as being like their number 2 pass catcher going forward. Like he'll be their number 2 receiver, so to speak. But I still think you need a starting caliber receiver added to this team. And
Can Josh Downs be that guy?
No, I don't think that he can be your number 2. I'm not going to say he can't be. He probably shouldn't be, given his size, stature, and maybe some limitations that he has because of that. I think that Josh Downs is a very good slot receiver. But if you're asking him to be like your possession receiver, a la Michael Pittman Jr., and catch stuff over the middle and be like the tough guy who gets the tough yards, I don't see that necessarily in his future. And again, that's fine. He's good and great, actually, at what he does. But how do you fill that void? And even though I would assume Pierce targets go up, Tyler Warren targets go up, Josh Downs targets go up, you still need someone, I think, to offset some of that and just draw attention away from the defense, whether that's drafting a receiver or adding one via free agency. So I don't think it's as easy as saying, oh, Josh Downs just step up, because you need bodies, quite frankly, as well. And I know Ashton Doolin has done fairly well in some spot starts over the years, Kevin, but we all know that his calling card is special teams.
So, James, I count right now 5 starters that are definitely gone, potentially a 6th in Jermaine Pratt. You think the new starter for Pittman is not here?
Right.
Okay. Braden Smith, do you think the new starter for him is here?
That's the only one I feel confident about right now is Jalen Travis.
Kwity Paye here or not here?
Not here.
So it's not Arden Key? It's not JT Tuimoloau?
I don't think it should be. JT barely played last year. And I get that he was a 2nd-round pick and had a great run at Ohio State before coming to the NFL. But if their plan is to bank on him to make some jump into a starting caliber defensive end when he barely played last year, I think it's fair to point out that's a flawed approach.
Zaire Franklin, the new starter for him here or not here?
Oh, definitely not here. They don't have a starting linebacker on their team right now.
And then lastly, Nick Cross. Would you say that starter is here or not here?
I would argue that perhaps is here in Wanye Thomas. I could see that.
So again, Wanye Thomas, for those that have not kept totally up to track with Colts free agency signings, with the Cowboys most recently, a couple starts last season, had significant migraine issues that ended his 2025 campaign. Big dude, 6'3", 215. So, if you look at those 6 names, Pittman, Braden Smith, Kwity Paye, Jermaine Pratt, Zaire Franklin, Nick Cross, and you just go through that exercise we just did, 4 of the 6, you would say the starters are not currently here.
Right.
And the one that's maybe a little more in the 50-50 would be at safety with Wanye Thomas. Could they still go out there and make a move at safety? So 4 of the 6, and you only have 2 draft picks in the top 100. You're obviously going to have to bank on something notable there and instant impact. And then again, we're now well into the second wave here of free agency. Cap space is not an issue. I mean, this team, I don't know if the cap space has been updated, James. I mean, they still have.
Yeah, I should probably take a look at it.
They still have room to make deals. But again, it's kind of who meets that value there.
$46 million in cap space right now.
And that is updated. That includes everybody.
Yeah. So what are you looking at, Jeff? I'm looking
at Spot Track right now, but I'll check out and see who has been added or not added.
Yeah. So
There's a couple of new names I don't see.
Yeah, over the cap has it listed as 37.6.
That makes more sense. Yeah.
But regardless, 37, 40, like they have money to spend. It's just who are you going to spend it on is more my question. And again, going through the entire roster, like for example, in the layout that I did, I didn't necessarily list the in-house free agents that returned as additions because they're not really additions. That's what you expected to have this upcoming season. So I didn't add Alec Pierce and say that's a plus for you. It was kind of just a wash. It's an even. Where were the other additions to get better? And again, I would say that they planned for a couple of these people to move on. Like I can't sit here and say today, oh my gosh, they lost Zaire Franklin. They never expected him to leave. They traded him. They wanted to move on from him. But again, where are your solutions and your answers to replace not just the player, because you can argue that the player should have been better or whatever, but like the volume of snaps that they lost as well. I mean, right now, you don't even have players that have played a lot that are projected to fill in for them. And again, it's very early in the offseason. Things could change. But I just wonder of the quality of player you can get going into the second week of free agency and then banking on hitting in the draft, which you really haven't done at certain positions in years past, especially defensive end, and those guys automatically being difference makers for you.
We'll have a Queens head coach, Grant Leonard, joining us at 9 o'clock. Mark, is third straight year we've had the Purdue opposing head coach from round one on. So
keeping the streak alive, baby.
He will join us here coming up at 9. And I believe you're going to queue up a little player draft for us on the other side?
I think that's what we're doing. We doing, first 2 rounds now?
I'm cool with that.
First 2 rounds today, then the final 3 tomorrow. Is that what you're thinking?
Sure.
Okay. All right.
I gotta make sure we get the rules correct on this as well. I have a few questions.
After we go through those right now, what are we? What are the parameters?
Nice.
Here?
Okay. Well, my only question is: so when you pick a player, can you only pick one player from one team?
No, you can pick a whole starting 5 if you want. I wouldn't advise, but you could do that.
Right. I was just curious, like this team's gonna go deep. I'm gonna
pick
like
multiple Michigan players. To answer your question.
I was just making sure. I probably won't do that, but just curious to know any loopholes there.
Total points, correct, Mark?
I mean, this is your thing. You tell me.
Total points. I think that's the simplest way.
So for those listening, we will pick 5 players in the NCAA tournament. Each of us can't choose the same player, obviously, after they're drafted. And we will add up their total points at the end of the NCAA tournament to see who wins. Prizes to be determined. I'm going to win, by the way. I've watched a lot of college basketball this year. That is not necessarily true outside of the Big Ten, but we're going to make it work.
I was going to say, I've watched a lot of Big Ten basketball this year. I don't know that I've watched a ton of players outside the Big Ten.
During the break, I'll be looking up, highest points per game in major conferences this year. Let's go.
All right. Coming up in a minute, we will do that. Also, you talked about the opposing coach for Purdue, Grant Leonard at Queens, and I'm looking forward to learning a little bit more about a team that they've only been eligible to play in the NCAA tournament a very short period of time, and here they are, Kevin.
I believe it's their first year of eligibility.
Yeah, they got it done right away, so that'll be a great story. We'll talk about that just a little bit more. And again, while we're talking about college basketball, if you're just joining us and you were busy all day yesterday, Thad Matta has retired at Butler. The second stint, not as much as people had hoped, 63 and 69, no NCAA tournament appearances in 4 years. And, you heard Danny Hurley really come to his, I don't want to say defense, but was just singing his praises just a month ago about, man, you give that guy a bunch of money in NIL, he'll build a culture, he'll build a team for you. I just wonder if he was finding it more and more difficult to find a way to build culture, to build the team in today's NIL era.
I think the answer to that is emphatically yes. And now the question becomes this, are there Butler alums, boosters, board, however you want to look at it, that said, you know what, I felt like we weren't going anywhere. I felt like, Thad and the total embracing of the era maybe wasn't there. I will, open up the old checkbook a little bit more if you go out there and make a move. Is that something that you see here from Butler? So, Again, I'll go back. I assume Ronald Nord is probably viewed as the heavy favorite, but I'd make a call and see what PJ Thompson's interest level would be. Is there some risk involved in a young first-time head coach? Yeah, but when Matt Painter gives you the reins to run that offense like he has with PJ Thompson for several years now, you talk about Indy ties. Obviously, you had ample ones with PJ. I mean, his family is well thought of in this city. So, that would be one that's not in the Butler tree that I think I would look into.
We'll keep an eye on that, and of course, we got college basketball coming your way. NCAA tournament. You don't look at this as the first round. This is just still qualifying to get in, Kevin.
To me, do you fill these games out in your bracket? Yes or no?
No, you do not.
There you go.
That's my answer
your
as
answer.
well.
Brackets don't lock in either.
That's your answer.
Yeah.
Now, again, I have seen, obviously, we have seen teams from this state. I mean, hell, if you're an Indiana basketball fan, your greatest memory in the NCAA tournament in the last 10 years might be beating Wyoming and Dayton.
I think it's
That was
more
such an
often
ugly
than
game too. Do you remember
Yeah.
that game? Lord,
I remember being relatively low scoring, but I don't remember much. Trace Jackson Davis probably dominating.
more often than not, though, someone from the first four does make it to the round of 32 at least.
Shout out
We haven't seen that.
Cam Heide. He will be on the floor tonight for the Texas Longhorns there and plays a rotational role. So, yes, Howard and UMBC at 6:40. Reminder, Miami of Ohio is tomorrow. They will take on SMU tomorrow there in Dayton. But, yeah, I mean, you are right. Usually there is one of these 11 seeds that tend to get hot. Notre Dame played in this game a few years back on St. Patrick's Day. Mike Bray, shout out, had some Jameson after they beat Rutgers, and then Notre Dame went on to nearly make the Sweet 16 that year. So, yes, it does indeed happen, but I'm looking at my bracket, and my bracket shows no place for me to fill out this game.
It's true. So tonight you mentioned UMBC. Those are the Retrievers. It's our favorite, one of our favorite nicknames there. They're going up against Howard. Those are two. Whoever wins that will be a 16 seed. And then tonight, Texas, North Carolina State, whoever wins that will be an 11 seed. That's what we know there for tonight's game. And then Miami of Ohio, if they win, they're an 11 seed. That's not bad.
How are we figuring out the draft order of this thing?
You're going to spin it up?
Sure. Are you going to trust the process?
I don't know. I'll wait to hear the draft order.
Guess who's going to be, if he does it back there, guess who's going to get the number one overall pick?
Are we going with the odd snake here? It's a 5-person draft, so.
So fourth gets.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
can benefit a little snaky here.
I think that's the way to do it.
Okay. All right.
So we're looking
I will trust you, Mark. I believe in you.
Well, thank you. After all these years, I'm glad you finally trust me on these things.
Not every day, but today I do, for some reason.
Mark, you going to be watching basketball or World Baseball Classic tonight?
Multi-view, baby.
Multi-view.
Noah McClain on the mound for the U.S.?
Yeah, I think so.
Vastly inexperienced, right?
Mm-hmm.
Incredible stuff, but 8 career starts. Is that right?
Interesting decision, I would say.
Wow. It's quite the moment for him. And he's the one that Italy got after, if I remember
Yep.
correctly, in the group stage there. So U.S. and Venezuela here, 8 o'clock tonight.
All right. Coming up in just a moment, we will talk a little bit more about this NCAA tournament field. Purdue's place in it as they wait. They got to wait until Friday before they play their first game, and we'll tell you more about that coming up in just a minute. Also, got the check down coming up 20 minutes from now. We will talk to Grant Leonard, the Queens coach, about getting in your first year of eligibility to the NCAA tournament and getting to face a red-hot Purdue Boilermakers team right out of the gate. That's all straight ahead as we continue at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Knew I could count on this one this morning, Mark.
Classic.
Happy, I was going to say Valentine's. How about St. Patrick's Day?
I would say, yeah, check your calendar, but happy St. Patrick's Day.
Some people want to make love to this day. So
I was going to say.
I'm good with Jeff on that.
St. Patrick's is a day for lovers, right?
Notre Dame kickoff
sure.
song right there, Mark Dykton. No big deal.
There you go. Good morning, and a guy that's already declared that not Irish, not wearing the green. I'm not wearing the green either today, so I guess we're together, James Boyd.
I don't think you have to be Irish to wear green. Just
No.
to be abundantly clear on the day.
Yeah.
I am 0% Irish.
Same.
Anyway, welcome into the Fan Morning Show on a cold, blustery day with that dry snow just kind of flurrying around when the wind picks up. Don't know that it's going anywhere today, but it's supposed to get nicer the rest of the week, so we look forward to that. In the meantime, we've got NCAA tournament action tonight, Kevin, even though you can't make a room in your bracket for these teams. These teams will get into the NCAA tournament. They call it the first four. The NCAA would like to tell you it's part of the tournament, but you're not buying it, right?
Well, yeah, am I filling out in the bracket or not? I'm not, right? I mean, I'll still watch and I'll still, care on some level. But no, the tournament to me is a 64-team field. And granted, one of these 11 seeds will probably go on and win. But just a reminder, we got the Queens coach coming on, Grant Leonard, 9 o'clock to chat with him. That is Purdue's opponent in round one, coming up Friday night in St. Louis. And Mark Dykton, you spun the wheel during the break for our player draft here. Mm-hmm. Okay, so just to remind everybody, these are 5-player teams that we will pick here, and simply you're adding up the total points scored. So if you pick a player that's on the national championship team and he averages 10 points a game, you've got, 60 points on your team. And if you pick a guy that's one and done and he scores 25 points in round one,
that's what you get.
You got 25 points. So 5-man teams will do a snake draft. Interestingly enough, James Boyd, you elected not to go into the studio to watch Mark see the spin of the wheel?
No, I trust his integrity, and I don't think he has any.
You got the first pick. What are we talking about here?
Well, you got the first
Yeah,
choice.
you got
of
the first
pick.
choice.
That's true.
Exactly.
That's true.
Tell
And
the whole
I-
truth. See what I mean about integrity, people?
I chose the fourth pick because I would like to double up. And then you got the first pick and you said that's what I wanted all this whole time.
You know what he did, Kevin? He went back there and he just twiddled his thumbs and then waited a couple seconds and said, all right, I got it.
Yeah.
I knew if I landed on it, shenanigans would be accused, and
Sounds like you
I'm
and
right
Adam
on
Silver
target.
have had a conversation lately.
Mark
about-
is getting the 4-5. Kevin elected to go 3-6. I got 2-7. And you're 1-8, James.
Well, I'm ready to make my pick.
James Boyd, start us off.
All right, let's go.
All right.
Ooh,
Give
Mark, I
me-
like it.
Give me Cam Boozer.
Pipped me.
I had a feeling, James Boyd.
Hey, best player on the best team. Why not?
Jeff?
So many good choices here, but I'm looking for teams to go deep. Yaxa Lendeborg, Michigan.
Wow.
He's going to play 5 or 6 games.
I think I get a future pacer here. AJ DeBanza.
Leading scorer in the country.
Just get me to the Sweet 16. Beat Gonzaga. That's 3 games.
Yeah.
If I get 3 games at 25 points per game, I'll take 75 points for this tournament.
All right.
So AJ DeBanza for me there in the 3rd pick, Mark.
I will take. I will take JT Toppin from Texas Tech.
Okay.
Mark, isn't he hurt?
He's out
Oh,
for
is
the
he
season.
out? Oh shit!
Oh
Well,
my
never mind.
God.
Man,
Oh,
get
man,
that
why'd
off the show.
Why'd you tell him that?
Unbelievable.
Goodness gracious.
Man. He picks a man with a torn ACL, then he goes 4-letter word
I'm
on
looking
us?
at. I'm writing things down. I'm looking at things. Okay, hold on a second.
What do you mean? He's been out
dear
for a month.
Lord. I mean, Jeff, you
This
got to
tells you how
intervene
little
here.
I've watched college basketball at the
Oh, my God.
I think you got to take it.
See, this
Man.
is
You sat back there.
No.
You decided your
Unbelievable.
choices.
You
You
know
had
what?
an entire
I might be Team
break to
Jeff on
think
this.
about
I might
it.
be Team Jeff on this.
I think I'm with Jeff. We
Okay,
might have
fine.
to do a Twitter poll.
I'll take it.
Mark Dykton gets a player with a torn ACL.
We'll give you a comp pick at the end, maybe.
Nah, I ain't getting no comp pick.
Mark, they might put him in one of those blowouts and let him
As
shoot a
soon as I
layup
said
just so
that,
he
like, he's hurt, isn't he?
experienced.
Okay,
the-
give-
Wasn't it the Vikings one year that missed their draft pick and had to go
This
back a
dude
pick.
here, man.
Unbelievable. Mark's supposed to be like Mr. Consistent. He's supposed to be who we rely on each day.
All right.
That's your own fault then.
Did you hit the dumb button? That's the
I
most
did.
important.
Right?
I think so. In time, we'll see.
You gonna go with the Duke point guard at your 5th pick or what?
No, I'm going with no. I was gonna say.
You were holding your
I don't
tongue
want
and
to say a
saying
name
ship
and then
there.
it goes official. Need me? I'll take Braden Smith from Purdue. How about that?
What a cop
right.
out after that. Unbelievable.
At least he knows he's playing.
Yeah,
I do.
Jeez. Tyrese Halliburton.
Lamar Wilkerson.
I think Houston's going to get hot, so I will go with their point guard. I think Kingston Flemings from the Houston Cougars here. We're just going to do 2 rounds today. Thank the Lord. Mark needs to regroup.
Yeah. All right, so that's me now. Braden Berries from Arizona.
I like that. I like that.
Is it my turn? Or
Here's
is
your
it
turn.
Keaton Wagler, Illinois. Put
I knew
46 on
we saved
Purdue's
him for you.
head.
I was curious when you'd go there.
I mean, hey, it ain't all just home cooking. That cat can play.
You
Ja-
need
James and I going with the all-freshman team right
Yeah.
now. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, James. Freshman in the tournament?
Hey, as long as they get the ball, we're all right. We're all right.
You just need 3 games from him.
There you go.
Just kind of like Kevin's theory and philosophy for
And
And
DeBonce,
unlike
man.
Mark, all of my players are playing currently.
I'm still gonna win. That was a luxury pick by me.
What?
All right, so those 2 rounds for today.
I don't even know about the Braden Smith, Mark. I mean, is he really score? Like, if you were
you're
going
right.
to pick the top Purdue scorer, would you go Braden Smith?
I'm hoping for a deeper run, and he turns the lights on. We'll see.
Okay. All right. Didn't shoot well in the Big Ten tournament. You know, I thought with Purdue, because I definitely debated a Purdue player in my head, but it's like, do you go Trey Kaufman-Renn?
Right. Thought about him.
Do you think he's going to be the more scorer type there? So, man, Mark, you might have to edit together something for yourself there after that.
That's okay.
And I kind of decided to go 2 guys that I'm relatively sure will get to the Final Four, or at least have a really good chance to get to the Final Four.
Yeah, Jeff's going with a little bit more quantity. James and I think, going a little bit more. We know they're
Volume.
going to score. It's
Short
just
volume.
how late in the tournament are they going to play?
It's going to be fun. I'm kind of looking forward to this tournament because it feels like one of 5 or 6 teams can honestly, legitimately win this. And I do like the number 1 seeds, but there's some pretty good number 2 seeds as well, Kevin.
I thought it was going to be fun until Mark literally just looked up the top scoring list and assumed everybody was healthy.
I did. That's exactly right. This is probably the least I've watched college basketball this year, and I just proved it right there.
Boy, that was so bad.
Unbelievable.
He's been out for forever. Oh, my God.
Well, the NCAA website should say that. Should list it on there.
Put a little asterisk next to it. Next to it.
How many interns we got over there?
All those times you've beeped Jeff, you should beep yourself for that, Mark.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Didn't you drop a 4-letter word afterwards too?
I said shoot.
Brian
Okay.
says that you did not hit the dump button. Did you hit it?
I did. It doesn't see if it's on the
If
stream.
it's
though,
on the stream, you
the
get to
stream
hear
is
it.
unfiltered.
Yeah, the stream is what you say is what you get. So there you go. But we appreciate you nevertheless, Mark Dykton.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for doing that for all of us. We appreciated that.
Glad I got a laugh out of everybody.
And you were so proud of yourself to pick that 4th and 5th turnaround too.
Again, my team is still going to win somehow, some way.
I like it. It's the Fan Morning Show, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan. You can let us know at 239-1070 whether or not you agree with these picks or if there are 2 that you would have made that you think guys are going to either, like Kevin decided, A.J. DeBonce, hey, that guy could score 35 a game for 3 games, Kevin, and get you 100 and plus points before it's all said
Yeah,
and
again,
done.
the nerve-wracking thing for me there was like, are they going to beat Gonzaga? Which, again, if they do and the seeds hold, that would mean Purdue against A.J. DeBonce there in the Sweet 16, which would be, obviously, from a local standpoint, quite the matchup there. So that was my thought process with BYU. I get, Richie Saunders, one of the better players towards ACL, probably a player Mark will pick later in the draft.
I'm writing him off right now.
But
you just informed me.
that would be one that I think makes the most sense here. Because, really, when you look at these top 4 seeds, like you picked Yaxel Lindenberg. I mean, how many points is he averaging? Boozer is really the one of the top 4 seeds. When you like, Arizona's pretty balanced. Florida's pretty balanced. Michigan is pretty balanced. Boozer's really the one of the top 4 seeds. Because I think we all sit here and think the 1 seeds have a great advantage to make deep runs all the way to Indy here, potentially. But really, there's only one true 18, 20, 22 point a game guy. And rightfully so, James went ahead and picked that player.
So my thought process of Lindenborg has been, during the regular season, Michigan they've got depth, right? They got a pretty solid 8, I'd even say 9-man rotation. But I think that tightens up a little bit in the NCAA tournament, and I think he'll get more opportunities and more minutes, and they're going to lean on him at times. That's kind of my thought process on why I decided to go with him. Take a little bit of a chance there. So we'll see how deep they go, and hopefully Purdue goes deep. And look, who knows? Braden Smith, if he starts averaging 14, 15 a game, and they play 5 or 6 games, you're in good shape, Mark Dykton.
I feel confident. I feel more confident than ever.
Mark's sweating in there after taking his car bomb and dropping that.
God, I wish I had one right now.
You might need one after that.
I was about to say he picked like he was already, using it.
What is in a car bomb?
Guinness.
Bailey's Irish cream usually.
Bailey's drop into the Guinness, and then it starts to curdle. I mean, honestly, it reminds me of the mayo in the coffee at times.
A little bit of whiskey you can do too.
Ugh.
And you throw
People drink that voluntarily?
You throw that back, and all of a sudden your stomach starts making noises like it's, you've had Taco Bell at 3 a.m.
Sounds like a less buttoned-down version of a Long Island iced tea.
James, people drink Malort for fun. I would say, yeah, Irish car bombs, somehow they still get it done.
What's the one I always see in the airport? Bloody Marys.
Oh, no, thank you.
I see that at like 7 in the morning, and I'm like, boy, how does that taste good? Is it just like tomato juice?
It's tomato juice and vodka, yeah. With usually like peppers and
I don't want my life to ever be that
pickles.
hard where I have to drink tomato juice and vodka. That sounds like a life I don't want to live. It sounds like a life of strife.
I'd rather start drinking Jaeger bombs again than ever drink a Bloody Mary. And Jaeger bombs are horrific.
Should we have allowed Mark to pick again?
It's fine.
I'm going to chalk that up. That was a Nora selection.
No,
she didn't know.
I'll let him fill it out with
No,
the
don't
very
put that
last pick of
spot
the
on
draft.
my BFF Nora, okay? Don't do that.
From Corey,
Those are
4-letter
boxing
word
words, Mark.
heard loud and clear in the Greenwood Middle School drop-off line.
No, that's good.
Influencing the youth.
Listen, this new board, the dump button isn't readily available as it usually is, so that's okay.
Some of us don't have potty mouths, though.
Jeff said he'd cover your fine.
No, Jeff did not say that.
Oh, the camaraderie of this show, man. We got one guy cursing, the other guy won't cover his fine. What kind of team are we?
I got 2 kids getting ready to go to college. I can't afford to cover anybody's fine.
Hey, they ain't got to go to school. Tell them to be influencers.
It's the Fan Morning Show, 93.5, 107.5. The Fan, Kevin Bowen, Mark Dykton, he of the potty mouth back there. There's a reason we keep him isolated back there.
Someone told us to take Lamar Wilkerson. He could go off for 90 in 2
I thought
games.
he's my next pick.
Yeah, Mark's got Caleb Wilson, Lamar Wilkerson, maybe Marcus Burton.
Zach
from Notre
Edey's
Dame.
still on the board, right?
One of those Butler injured players.
James Boyd, good morning. We also have the news in college basketball this morning. We found out about it yesterday. Thad Matta retiring after another 4 years at Butler. Did not make the NCAA tournament. And, we had a chance to talk to Coach, who I like and admire greatly throughout the course of the year. And Kevin, you and I had talked about this about an hour ago. He just seemed a little worn down and not comfortable with life in this new existence of NIL, college basketball, having to rebuild rosters almost every single year. He's a man that was known as a culture builder. It's really tough to build culture when you're just swapping guys in and out all the time.
Yeah, I mean, he was met, oftentimes when those questions are asked, it was like, man, I love the guys, not I love the era. I love, doing the NIL aspect of it. And I don't blame him. I mean, it's clearly not for everybody, especially when you've grown up in a much different era to how, he's built things and how he went about recruiting and all of that, particularly when you're not sitting at, whatever, the big table, if you will, within your own conference from a financial standpoint as well. And then physically, I mean, clearly he has, had some physical ailments that have impacted him, I think, the end of his Ohio State tenure. And, you watch him coach at Butler and you do wonder about that stuff. So again, fascinating to see what Grant Linedecker does. So I've thrown out a couple names today, and, Ronald Norad, I assume, would be viewed by many as probably the favorite for this, but, how is that Butler job viewed? Part of me thinks, boy, could you get Chris Holtman back from DePaul? Chris Holtman had a nice little run there. But exactly how do they pivot? Because Leyendecker as an AD, again, he was on those Final Four teams. So, he knows Ronald Nord really well. And Gordon Hayward's the new GM, and he's obviously on those teams as well. So that's kind of where I think a lot of people point to from a sign standpoint.
All right, so that's what's happening in college basketball and everything else. Let's get to the check down mark and let everybody know what they can look forward to in the next 24 hours or so.
The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
All right, we mentioned Thad Matta retiring at Butler. Also, we have the Garrett Winiger leaving Fishers after a state championship and a state runner-up last year. Went 132-25, and James, it's just remarkable to see. I was able to call that state title game in which they lost last year, but that team is just loaded with talent. They'll continue to be loaded with talent. Only 3 losses for him in the last 3 seasons. It's amazing.
Yeah, 83-3 during that stretch. Their 3 losses were by combined at 10 points. Talk about excellence.
Yeah. He is going to an Iowa prep school that is in the Nike EYBL circuit. He'll be coaching the freshmen and sophomores. Keith Smart is coaching the juniors and seniors there. And I suppose a chance to just go coach some of the best young talent in the nation and get in on that Nike tour. And for him and his family, probably just seemed like a step in the right direction for his coaching career.
Well, I'd assume he wants to coach at higher levels. I think that's probably what Garrett Weininger is doing there. He's playing the prep school game, and as much as that game I think bothers myself, I'm sure financially with 3 young boys, it makes a whole lot of sense for him. So, I always enjoyed how much he seemed to fully embrace what Indiana high school basketball meant and the environments, and always spoke glowingly of Sectional 8 and everything that went into that. But yeah, I would assume this is a stepping stone. And, again, the elephant in the room for me when I saw this last night, does this mean Cooper Zachary and Jason Gardner Jr. are playing for Fishers next year? Or does this mean they're playing elsewhere? Which, unfortunately, we've had that in our state with a lot of the frontline Mr. Basketball type of candidates. The Braylon Mullins, Luke Ertles.
It's rare.
It's turning into rare. So that's the unfortunate nature of where we're at right now, selfishly. But yeah, I think there was a little bit of rumor that this could have been happening even in prior years with Garrett Weininger. So not shocked by the news at all.
Derek Williams resigning at Cardinal Ritter. He had decided this back in January, apparently, and they'd had a nice little run this past year, James. They lost this past Saturday in the 2A regional to Triton Central, but he's decided to leave that program at this point in time.
Yeah, I believe they already hired somebody else that might have been on the staff, so they found a replacement pretty quickly.
All right.
From Matt, the S bleep, 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 100% came through the radio. Had to talk with his 10-year-old about it.
Mark.
Oh, well, we're educating and entertaining then.
He's requested to tune in tomorrow to learn more about the life that I'm apparently shielding from him.
Is that the first time Nora's ever heard that, Mark, if she was listening to the radio today?
She's seen me on Sundays during Bears-Packers games. No, absolutely not. She's heard a lot worse.
Has she pretty much heard everything at this point in time?
We're going to talk birds and the bees tomorrow. Make sure you're tuned in, have the kids in the car.
Unbelievable.
All right. Speaking of head coaches, Grant Leonard from Queens, the first-round opponent of the Purdue Boilermakers, going to join us at 9 a.m. this morning. Make sure you listen in on that one. He's got Queens in the NCAA tournament, their first year of eligibility to be in the NCAA tournament. That's pretty impressive right there, James.
Oh, I would agree. And I kind of go back to what Kevin has said throughout the recent weeks. Why do they have to wait so long to get to the Division I level? I'm glad that they're finally here, and obviously they've earned it.
All right, NBA, Pacers play in New York at Madison Square Garden against the Knicks tonight. 7 o'clock airtime, 7:30 tip time here at 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. You can listen to the great, awesome, amazing Mark Boyle on the play-by-play. They will be home against Portland tomorrow back at the Fieldhouse, and then on the road again at San Antonio on Saturday. Current update right now, they are 15-53, 1.5 games worse than Washington in the standings right now, 2.5 games worse than Sacramento. And are you ready for today's Tankathon, gentlemen? It is.
As long as it doesn't cuss.
Oh, Pacers are number 3 today, James, behind Memphis and Utah.
Boozer or Peterson at 3? Who would you rather see there?
You know I'm a Boozer guy.
I might roll Peterson.
Can I talk into Caleb Wilson at all?
You probably could.
You have a.
With the way Darius Acuff, his junior's been playing, I was tempted to even say him.
Some people thought we should have picked Acuff. My worry about Acuff is not getting a third game. I think Wisconsin. I like Wisconsin. And that's
I
a
do
great
like
second-round
Wisconsin.
matchup, Wisconsin-Arkansas potentially.
I like Wisconsin in that game.
But a lot of people thought, Acuff, he's kind of in the Debanza camp, or James, maybe even the Keaton-Wagler camp. Do you get 3 games, and are you scoring, 25
Exactly.
a game?
You got to think about the path, not always about the points.
That's right. And who did you pick first, Mark?
I don't remember already.
Okay.
I'm blanking.
Just checking. All right, that's what's happening in the NBA, other than the fact that Steve Kerr became the 4th fastest coach to get 600 wins last night. Golden State got a win over Washington. Kristaps Porzingis scored 30 points. Can they be problematic in the postseason if Porzingis starts dropping 30 every night? They get Steph healthy?
No, because Steph isn't healthy, and he's still out.
And let's be honest, Porzingis ain't going to be healthy in a month.
Exactly.
That's kind of how that one's looking right now.
And they beat the Wizards, so that shouldn't even count as a real win.
Colts still holding steady as they are, James Boyd. Is that a good thing or not right now?
Not, but we'll see. It's a long off season.
Kevin, your thoughts?
Yeah, again, it feels like prior Chris Ballard free agencies. It feels like, the times where he was extra frugal at a point in time where the urgency's, supposed to be higher. And again, cap space is not an issue. We talked about that a little bit earlier in the 7:30 hour. And it's not like you're sitting there in the draft where, like, Houston has 4 picks in the top 70 this year. The Colts have 2 in the top 100. So even if you wanted to play the draft game, it's not like you're all of a sudden going to, have a ton of rookie instant impact. So that is also a bit head-scratching to me.
Fair to say, though, that from a Colts perspective, their number 1 draft pick is playing cornerback at Sauce Gardner.
Well, sure,
Yeah.
but that doesn't impact
I
your
get
other
it.
roster building.
I get that. Also in the NFL, the Jets have traded Justin Fields to Kansas City for a 2027 6th-rounder. Depending on how quickly Patrick Mahomes recovers from that ACL, he might see some time for the Kansas City Chiefs this year.
Yeah, which, again, if he's your spot starter, not a bad option.
All right. Also, the WBC goes tonight. Championship game, Mark Dykton. How you feeling against Venezuela, who rallied to beat Italy 4-2 last night?
Well, I'm a bit concerned about who the USA team is throwing on the starting mound today, but maybe it's more of a bullpen game, I guess, but I do like our hitters, so I will take USA. I'm going to side with the country.
And Venezuela, Mark.
I would hope so.
Acuna Jr., they've got a couple others, right? Contreras. I'm trying to think who else. Oh, Eugenio Suarez. Last night hit a bomb there. So shout out to the Reds for that one there. I mean, their lineup is pretty darn good. I mean, I think
it's a solid final.
Yeah. I would agree.
Yeah, somebody was trying to make the point that if you added up Team USA's salary cap, all the players that are playing there, it was well over $300 million. And somebody else noticed that not too far behind that was the Dominican Republic. So it wasn't like beating up on the little sisters of the poor, Mark, when it's all said and done.
Might be.
So we'll
Noah
see.
McClain, the starter tonight for the U.S. 8 career starts in Major League Baseball, and the Italians got to him pretty well there in the group stage. So to Mark's point, a little nerve-wracking about who Mark DeRosa and Andy Pettit are throwing out there.
No pressure.
No pressure at all. All right, we'll keep an eye on that one. Also, speaking of Team USA, the women's basketball team continues in the FIBA qualifier for the World Cup. Even though they've already qualified, they are playing in the tournament. Caitlin Clark will play again tonight against Spain at 5 p.m. You can watch that one on Sling TV, or, as James might say, there are other ways to try and find that game on the internet, correct?
Yeah.
All right.
Mr. Boyd checking in for Mother Russia Television. Want to see Caitlin Clark play.
Outstanding. And Kevin, last thing, you will or will not be watching much of the play-in games, as we like to call them, for the NCAA tournament.
I'll be more World Baseball Classic, but the ending of the playing games, I do get sucked into that, and not that anyone really cares about this aspect, but for the mid-major programs, if you are in these like bottom conferences, you almost would rather be in the play-in, because if you win a play-in game, you get the same financial share of winning an actual NCAA tournament game. So like for these 16 seeds, like if UMBC or who is it Howard, is that their opponent? If either of these teams win tonight, that is the financial benefit to you and your conference that Oakland got for beating Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a huge deal for the small schools. Like if you're going to be a 15 or 16 seed, you might as well just be a 16, because you might get the benefit of winning in Dayton and all of a sudden making a whole lot of money.
And just to clarify, for Caitlin Clark and crew, you can watch them on True TV and HBO Max.
All right. Also, we've got the winner of tonight's game between Howard and UMBC goes to play Michigan. So you've got that to look forward to. And the winner of the North Carolina State-Texas game would play BYU in the first round. So that's what's happening in the world of sports. Anything else you want to throw in, KB, James?
I'm good.
Move along. All right, coming up in just a moment, we continue the – Mark, you going to keep it clean in the next segment here?
It's 2026. What are we doing? It's
All
just
right.
words.
All right, we doing Goats of the Week coming up here?
We could if we want to. Sure.
Isn't it Tuesday?
It is Tuesday, but we missed it yesterday. So you guys want to do that or you want to hold it off till Wednesday? It's up to you guys.
Let's talk Boilers next.
All right, we'll do that next. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Big free throw right there for the Vikings. There he is, Bryce Drew, 6'3" senior.
14 points in the quarter, 31 of the night. They've got to hustle and got to fire the three. Tough defense by Drew. Outside. It's on the way. It is gone! And it happened at the buzzer. No time left. We're going overtime. They get it across the timeline. Ball game is over. The basket will count by Mark Turing. And the celebration begins.
That voice, Jerry Baker, of course, the 94 state title, South Bend Clay over Valpo, 93-88. And Bryce Drew, he had 32 there, 28 in the second half. That was the Mr. Basketball for 1994. And obviously the Drew family, well decorated here when it comes to the state of Indiana. We are at the semi-state round here of the boys tournament. Just to remind everybody, again, 2 games in the semi-state round. So 10 a.m. and noon. And then the winners will play at 8 p.m. And with Purdue not playing until Sunday, Saturday can be all focused here from a local standpoint on the high schools. 3 of our top 4 teams, the number 1 ranked team, and 3 of the top 4 classes, or 3 of the 4 classes are out. So Silver Creek in 3A is the only one left here. From a 4A standpoint, right here in our own backyard, we're going to get out at Newcastle, Mount Vernon, and Decatur Central. Decatur Central, kind of a Cinderella story, and really not a lot of history here from an Indiana high school basketball standpoint. And New Albany and Terre Haute North, those will be the other schools there that'll represent over at Newcastle coming up on Saturday. Roncalli and Silver Creek, and Cathedral and Princeton down at Seymour. And at Southport, got Parks Heritage and Triton Central, Linton Stockton versus Austin. So for all these locations, all these tip times, head to ihsaa.org. Don't miss it. Nothing compares to attending an IHSA basketball state tournament game in person.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
I think I'm coming to the conclusion, Mark Dykton, that you had your little slip up because maybe you actually do have something tucked away in that covered cup of yours back there.
I wish. I hope so. Evan Sherrill, hook a brother up if you got something when you're stopping by.
Oh, speaking of Evan Sherrill, that is today, is it not? Do we have
True.
Cluster Truck today, Kevin Bowen?
Yes, we do. Dunk Fest, by the way, with Cluster Truck coming up starting, I think, tonight. They usually match it up with all tournament games. So cheese bread, 2 pounds of chicken strips, churros. What am I forgetting? I'm forgetting something in the Dunk Fest order, but it's a great menu there for any crew that's gathering to watch your respective teams here coming up in the tournament.
I like it. So it's always a great Tuesday when Cluster Truck stops by, and I'm looking forward to getting a little of that. I did not
Chips
go.
and queso. That was the other thing.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah. So 2 pounds chicken strips. You get dips with that.
I like
Cheese, bread, chips and queso, and churros. Again, big fan. Your promo code with Cluster Truck.
All right. It is NCAA tournament time. We got the first 4 games coming up tonight and tomorrow. 2 tonight, 2 tomorrow, obviously. And then Purdue gets going in St. Louis on Friday night, 7:35. They take on Queens from Charlotte. I'm sure most people know that story by now, but do we have Oscar Clough talking about what he knew originally when they found out that they were playing against Queens the other day, Mark?
You have Queens first round in St. Louis. What was your reaction when you saw that pairing?
Can't wait. Let's get going.
What do you know about Queens?
It's in New York somewhere.
It's in Charlotte. It's North Carolina. That's okay. That's okay. The A-Sun champs, they won in overtime to punch their ticket to March Madness. Okay, well.
I'm just here to play.
Doesn't matter who the opponent is, right?
No, I'm just ready to play. Ready to play whoever.
There you go. And you know what? There's probably a lot of people didn't know that Queens was in Charlotte, North Carolina.
I believe that from Wish TV, Angelo Morian there interviewing Oscar Clough after the Big Ten title game. Yes, I'm right there with the big Australian. I had no idea. I assumed it was Queens, New York until last week. But yeah, their first year in D1, or first year I should say eligible for the tournament there. Grant Leonard, their coach, will join us here coming up at 9. It's a small gym down there. It's a lot of kind of junior college transfers. Again, very balanced scoring. They can score, not a lot of big dudes. And that ASUN championship game, they had a dude, Chris Ashby. All he did was shoot threes, and he hit 10 of them. So, CJ Cox, get your track shoes on because you'll be chasing that dude around there. But, yeah, they gave up a lot of points. So, I think Purdue, from a Clough, Kaufman, Wren size advantage, will be trying to tap into that.
Yeah, and the thing that I'll ask you guys this question. Is it possible that Purdue,
How you doing?
who was so
What?
hyped up coming into the year, and I think rightfully so.
Mark, your mic is on, Mark.
Mark, your mic is still on, buddy.
Todd is on the right, and
He can't hear us. Mark doesn't have his headphones on. He's having a stellar day. Your mic is still on.
Oh, sorry. Corbin walked in. I was
That's
talking
all
to
right.
him.
I'll ask you this question, Kevin. Is it possible that psychologically this team just kind of got through the Big Ten regular season and now they are mentally more prepared to play because this is go time for them and they've been through the regular season before and all that stuff? Or did they just really struggle defensively for a stretch there?
I know. Yeah. I mean, there's part of me, it's kind of an easy cop-out just to say that. I brought it up on yesterday's show when I was at the Bulldog on Friday night for our Jack Daniels small ball event. Someone was saying to me, like, hey, in our Purdue group text, people have kind of viewed it as almost an NBA team going through the motions of a regular season where you're going to be in the playoffs in the tournament. And no matter what, Purdue could have gone, they could have had Miami, Ohio's regular season. And what would we have said?
Still right where you're at.
All that matters is March.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the nature. And that's more probably program than anything. It's not necessarily due to Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer and Drake Hoffman-Rem's tenure. Maybe at some point this week we can play some of the Braden Smith audio because I think he's been very honest about, legacy and what's missing from it. And, I mean, it's an incredible story, incredible run they've had there. But you just have the one missing chapter. It'd be the same thing if Indiana would have lost, if Carson Beck doesn't throw a pick on the last drive. And if he goes down there and finishes off that comeback, it just leaves a little bit of that sour taste in what is an insane story. I kind of feel similarly about Purdue. If you aren't in Indy, if you aren't cutting down the nets, and that's a credit to them for creating such incredibly high expectations. But they've done everything. They've won multiple Big Ten tournament titles. They've won multiple Big Ten regular season championships. They've won 7 NCAA tournament games. Right now, we fully expect them to at least get to the second weekend, if not further there. So, yeah, maybe it was. I don't know. A little bit of kind of like playing a little freer, but defensively, again, they were outstanding in the Big Ten tournament. I know I said it a lot yesterday, but I think that's what truly stands out about what they did in Chicago. It's not like they won the Big Ten tournament and led for 152 of 160 minutes. Yes, that speaks for itself, but how they won it. They didn't win it with a bunch of shootouts. They won it with defense. Nebraska had one of their lowest point totals. UCLA had one of their lower point totals. Michigan had one of their lower point totals. I do think that should give Purdue some confidence heading into this week.
Yeah, and I think Queens is going to have a lot, as you mentioned a moment ago, James, is going to have a lot of problems with Oscar Clough and Drake Hoffman-Wren.
Yeah, I'm looking at them, though. They're a very balanced team offensively. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players that average double figures for them. So it does seem like, it necessarily isn't shutting off one guy's water. It's trying to keep up with an offense that is one of the best in the country and can certainly put some points on the board. When we talked to Rob Blackman yesterday, he was mentioning how much they can score and how much they also give up points. So how do you take advantage of that? And one of them will be probably the size there for sure, Jeff.
And Kevin,
Purdue fans have a legit beef that Missouri could be playing in their home state in round 2.
A little bit, I guess. But I feel like we have these conversations every year with different teams around the country. So I don't know. I think you should just be a better team than them.
Get to the Final Four, and Purdue be playing in not too far away from home either.
Obviously, Purdue had an advantage last year in the Sweet 16, playing in their home state against Houston.
Yeah.
I brought up.
And then Houston still won the game. So it's like you got to go out there and just compete, I think.
Yeah, I think it's hard to, totally scrub every seed and, sift through all 64 and try to achieve that. I think Florida should have a real gripe. Again, Florida's in the South region here that is in Houston. And so Florida and Houston gets the Elite Eight. I think you should protect the 1 seed, I guess, in all these regions. As best you can. I get that maybe you can't do it at the 7, 8, 9 seed. It's hard to predict all these upsets happening and all of that. But, for the 1 seeds, I do feel like as best as you can. Last year, could you have sent Purdue to another region, for example?
Yeah.
As the 4 or
Well,
the,
I
or
mean,
the
I have a
5?
couple solutions. You got Southport, you got Newcastle, you got Seymour. We can handle all these things right here in this state.
Well, some of those are busy this weekend.
I was gonna say,
some of
we've
those
seen
sites
those.
are busy on Saturday.
That is true. That is true.
They've been spoken for, James.
Yeah, I'll be in Newcastle. Holla at your boy.
All right. All right, coming up in just a moment, we will talk a little bit more about the opening games for the NCAA tournament tonight. Also, retirement here in college basketball close to home. The Pacers getting ready to take on the Knicks tonight. Is it time to snap the 13-game losing streak? They can afford to. It's the Knicks. Let's go. We'll talk about it next. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
We grow hair Indy, the gold standard for hair restoration. Northwest side, that would be the building number 2 at the Pyramids. I think if you head online, wegrowhairindy.com, you'll see the before and after pictures and videos, and they really tell you so much of the story. It's funny, or I don't know, funny is the right word, but, I've chatted with some people that have had hair transplants and regenerative treatments done outside of the state, outside of the country. I see Turkey is a very popular country for this, and some of the stories are pretty nightmarish. And I that's not my experience whatsoever at We Grow Hair Indy. So, when you look into prices and you look into all of that, I don't think this is something you want to skimp or shortcut or anything like that. It's a big deal, and you want to make sure the best in the business are helping you out, and they just happen to call the 317 home. So, again, it's online, wegrowhairindy.com, up on the northwest side, building number 2, the gold standard for hair restoration, We Grow Hair Indy.
Time for a tournament update brought to you by Urology of Indiana's Vasectomy Centers. And we've got games played tonight. 2 games in the first 4. UMBC, Baltimore, Maryland. The Retrievers taking on Howard. The winner of that will get a 16 seed. And then the late game tonight, Texas taking on North Carolina State. The winner of that game will get an 11 seed and would play BYU in the first round. So that's what's going on tonight as far as college basketball. Of course, Purdue gets underway in the first round Friday night, 7:35 tip. They'll be in St. Louis to take on Queens, and we will talk to the head coach at Queens, Grant Leonard, coming up in about 17 minutes from now. That is your tournament update brought to you by Urology of Indiana's Vasectomy Centers. Board-certified physicians performing safe and effective vasectomies. View our video and schedule your procedure today at vasectomyindy.com.
indoor and outdoor concrete. I know, unfortunately, we can't really see it right now, but trust me, if you get work done from Galaxy Concrete Coatings, you will be very, very happy with what they do for you. Indoor and outdoor concrete. The indoor part would be garages. The outdoor part would be sidewalks, porches, patios, or I should say the indoor part would be basements. The outdoor part would be garages, sidewalks, patios, porches, residential or workplace online, galaxyconcretecoatings.com. Pictures tell you so much of that story, and I think you will like what you see. But if you need more, manufacturer upgrade the warranty from 15 years to lifetime. And very efficient process. We had new sidewalk, new front porch put in a couple summers ago. Really only about 24 hours in and out. Very happy with the result of the Jupiter style, Galaxy Jupiter style. So again, head online, galaxyconcretecoatings.com. Indoor and outdoor concrete. The indoor, the garage. The outdoor, I should say the indoor, the basement. I'm fumbling through this as well. The outdoor would be sidewalks, porches, patios, and garages. Make sure you contact galaxyconcretecoatings.com today.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
My goodness, winter's making one last stand here in central Indiana. I don't think it's going to get out of the 20s today, although by the weekend it's supposed to get back up into the 70s. So as you pointed out earlier, Kevin, welcome to Indiana in March.
Sadly.
I said it out loud yesterday driving home from the show. I said, this weather doesn't know what it wants to do today because it was windy, snowing, and then the sun came out. Then it snowed again, and it snowed while the sun was out.
It was one of the wilder weather days I can recall in quite some time here. YouTube chat, once again, heavily debating Indiana and Purdue. I believe the IU fans are out in full force about Purdue losing to higher-seeded teams there. There's probably a joke about Indiana not even being in the tournament to play any sort of seed here. Did you guys see the financial figure kind of going around social media yesterday about how much college basketball programs are spending?
I did see that, but I didn't read enough about it to understand the full scope of it because from what I understand, this was not like an NIL number. This was something a little bit different.
Yeah, I think the operational budget might be more of like the term to use there. And obviously Indiana, they are paying, I believe, 2 buyouts, right? You're paying Mike Woodson's buyout and you're paying Darren DeVries' buyout with West Virginia. So I think that is contributing to that financial figure. Now, I'll go back to what I said. I don't know if I said it on Monday's show with IU not making the tournament. Certainly said it last week after the loss to Northwestern. I don't need to be shown any sort of dollar figure to know that I firmly believe no program invests more and has gotten less on that return than Indiana University's men's basketball program. And when I say invest, yes, you mean some NIL. Certainly mean it from a facility standpoint, butts and seats, however you want to quantify that. And then obviously the return would just be wins, NCAA tournament appearances. And, again, the last 10 years, the 2 NCAA tournament wins are Wyoming and Kent State. And one of those was in Dayton. It's the cheerleader on the shoulders, getting the ball off the top of the goal. And so that's what's got to change. And again, I will credit Darren DeVries. I thought late in the season when he did talk about what needs to change with his roster, I thought he was very honest and accurate with what needs to change. There is part of me that thinks to myself, wait a minute, you didn't know the Big Ten had legit big dudes? Have you been living under a rock?
It's in the name.
For the last, X amount of years here. I get you didn't coach in the conference, but you're not just not watching that conference at all there. So that was a little, I don't get it, but at least he's acknowledging it because I'd argue the coach before him was way too stubborn to ever change his ways.
Having said that, how's it feel to be in it? And look, we got this on the other side during football season. There are Purdue people saying, all you ever talk about is Indiana football these days. All you ever talk about is Indiana football. But if you're an Indiana fan, how you feeling this week is once again Purdue is on a roll. looking to go deep into the NCAA tournament, and you're watching on TV and wondering who your starting five is even going to look like and be next year.
They finished, 18-14, not one of the top 68 teams in the country, so you can't feel good about it. And you're probably annoyed because, to Kevin's point, your history and the money you invest currently should at least get you in the dance. And that's honestly, like from the outsider perspective, being the Illinois transplant to Indiana, that's what's most shocking about it is like, man, that program has fallen off so much to the point where you're just asking to get into the dance in any capacity. We're not saying like get to a Sweet 16, just get in. And for that to be your baseline and you can't even reach that, it is troubling. And I just wonder, I'm not calling for his job by any means, but how quickly do these demands, if they're not met, have to be met with change? You got 1 year with Darren DeVries, and granted, it's just one season. I'm not going to write him off just yet. But in the age of NIL, how much patience do you have when you don't deliver? And by deliver, I mean, again, just make the tournament. This is like with the Colts where it's like just make the playoffs. And you seem like you're asking for a lot, but it really shouldn't be a lot given the resources.
Yeah, I forget the stat out there, but I want to say it's like 12 of the last 16 years. It might be bigger than that. They finished 500 or worse in the Big Ten. I mean, to your point, Jay, I would argue it might be harder to make the NFL playoffs than what we're asking.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But I just meant like the same feeling of like apathy and feeling like you're middling.
Yeah. I mean, I'm asking you to walk 1 mile in the mini marathon here coming up in a month and a half. I'm not asking you to go win the race.
Right.
And that's what I think is just, it would be maddening for, I would assume, for the IU fan base to have to continue to go through it. And you're going to have to do the same song and dance next year of rebuilding pretty much the whole roster.
Yeah.
Like that's the same. And that's where I was confused with DeVries' first year. It's like, where's the balance of, yes, you want some first year guys to try and obviously win, but also don't you want to develop some of these younger guys that have multiple years of eligibility? And the Purdue aspect, of course, is going to be frustrating when, where did Braden Smith play high school basketball?
Westfield.
Where did Fletcher Lawyer play high school basketball?
Yeah.
Where did Trey Kaufman-Renn, especially Trey Kaufman-Renn, where did he play high school basketball?
They're losing out on all the local kids.
And, Kaufman-Renn was a decently highly ranked recruit, but obviously Braden Smith was not. That's pretty well documented. And Fletcher Lawyer wasn't even a major recruit. Granted, he did move into the state a little bit into his high school career.
And now you got Luke Ertl going to Purdue, too.
Sure.
So, yeah. I don't know. This might be overly harsh. You guys tell me. Gary text send 239-1070. If Scott Dolson didn't hit it so big on Signetti, he'd be the worst AD in the history of IU. Is that a little harsh?
Well, if he didn't hit on
harsh.
the greatest coach in the sport,
feels like a little harsh to me.
He made arguably the greatest hire in the sports history. So, yeah, I mean, yeah. What do they say about ifs and aunts and uncles and all that?
Well, it is St. Patrick's Day, and if ifs were a fifth, we'd all be drunk right now.
James, crazy question popped into my head as I saw you tweet from Southport on Saturday. And maybe I'm the only one that cares about it, and I'll enjoy this, Purdue next few weeks here. Who starts a point guard for Purdue next year?
Many of those watching Saturday would have said not Braden Smith, I'm sorry, Luke Ertl, because of what he was doing. But I don't necessarily know. I do think it's
Omar Meyer.
Yeah.
He's had a nice little second half of the season.
I don't know if CJ Cox is a point guard, but he does a lot of, there's like how I've said it a million times, there's a Nemhard vibe to him for me. So, or if you're Matt Painter, do you just hand Ertl the ball day one?
Yeah, I think part of that conversation, and it's not to diminish what Luke Ertl is doing by any means. He's a great high school player, and I think he'll be a great college player. But I think Braden Smith has reached a level where it's probably unfair to compare the next guy and say he's going to be the next Braden Smith. That is probably not going to happen because Braden Smith he's had one of the best careers we've ever seen in the Big Ten, let alone college basketball. So I wouldn't be surprised if they ease Luke into it, mainly because of the shoes he's trying to replace. And like you said, you have other options with more experience. So it's not a knock on Luke at all. I think he's a great player, a great kid.
I assume it'll be Meyer. But
yeah, but the point is, I think if you were in that gym, everyone's like, it has to be him. And it's like, well, remember, he won't be playing these guys at the next level. So keep that in mind. But Luke, man, he's the truth, man. That kid is special. And what I love about him, he never reacts to anything. He probably has the best sportsmanship and character I've seen of any high school in recent years because good call, bad call, he just doesn't react. He's a robot. And because of that, he's a killer.
Coming up in a moment, we will speak with the head coach for Purdue's first-round opponent. Grant Leonard stops by the Fan Morning Show next. It's 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
The Andy Moore Auto Group, they've got an excellent campus out off Rockville Road. Trust me, the weather's going to be better this weekend. Stop over there. You're going to get a variety of selections, whether it is a little Kia action, Toyota, Nissan, Volkswagen, and from a Toyota standpoint, you got to love this. First off, deep inventory. So you got over 350 new Toyota available for purchase. And how about over 150 pre-owned vehicles are ready for sale? Home of the hybrids over there with Toyota, Prius, Corolla hybrid, Camry hybrid as well. Lineup of some of the most efficient fuel cars available today. And Toyota's Truck Center, Indiana's Toyota Truck Center over there on that Andy Moore campus off of Rockville Road. Over 100 new Toyota trucks available for purchase today. It's a one-stop shop. You can get quite the variety over there off of US 36 and Rockville Road. That is the Andy Moore Group Campus.
caught up in your love affair, and we'll never be royals.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Let me be your
The Queens Royals, the first-round opponent for Purdue, coming up in the NCAA tournament on Friday night. Purdue making their way over to St. Louis for their first-round game. It'll be at 7:35 p.m., so prime time. And pretty good chance for all the Purdue fans to make that 3.5, 4-hour drive over there on a Friday evening and have a good time watching their team. And joining us now to tell us a little bit more about Queens is the head coach of the Royals, who's kind enough to get up early with us this morning and join us on the Payless Liquors hotline. Coach, good morning and welcome to the Fan Morning Show. Happy to have you today.
Good morning. Happy to be here. I appreciate the song. Great lead up into this segment.
I like it right there. Look, this is the first year you guys have been eligible for the NCAA tournament, and you make your way in. How special is that? How special has this been on a campus that is in the city of Charlotte and is relatively small? I would imagine it's a pretty cool feeling there.
Yeah, man, the city's really, supported us and got behind us, and it's been awesome to see. I mean, you draw up a plan 4 years ago to hopefully execute it, but here we are, and it happened, and just so happy for our players.
It's Grant Leonard, the head coach of the Queens Royals, and they are going to, of course, play Purdue coming up Friday night over there in St. Louis. Mark Dighton, excellent choice there. Little Lord Royals bringing us back in the 9 o'clock hour. Coach, you've been a part of the program for a long time, and obviously the transition from D2 to D1, I'm sure, is quite something there. For those that maybe aren't super familiar with your guys' trajectory to this level, could you fill us in a little bit, just background, you with this program and you with this coaching staff?
Yeah, this is my 13th year with the program, and the first 9, I was the associate head coach when we were Division II, and we were really good. 4 of our last 6 seasons, we had 30-win seasons, which is unique. It's hard to do in college basketball, and we went to multiple Elite Eights and Final Fours in that tenure. And then my boss actually took UW-Milwaukee head coaching job, which is my hometown, and I have the dubious honor of being the only coach in basketball history to go from Division II assistant to Division I head coach in the same hiring cycle. And, we started off our first year and opened it up with a win versus Marshall in our first Division I game. And we've been plugging along ever since. And this year, in our first year eligible, here we are dancing.
Again, we're talking to Grant Leonard, the coach of Queens, who will face Purdue on Friday. Grant, when you look at your roster and the way it's kind of built up, you do have a lot of guys who obviously stayed over from when you were all Division II, added a couple of transfers. What has Avante Parker meant as an addition? I know he's kind of a throwback-ish player and someone who can get it done down low.
Yeah, and that's Division II. Definitely the difference is, the positional size. And so, in this year when we announced that we were going to be able to be tournament eligible, we were able to go into the portal and get 3 bigs that had Division I experience: Avante Parker from Georgia Southern, Gus Larson from Cal Berkeley, and Carson Schwieger from Valpo. And those guys are really like the backbone of how we've been able to kind of take the turn and become a conference champion at this level.
And then one follow-up to that, when you're waiting to elevate to the Division I level, what is that like? Like, you're competing last year, obviously, in a different tournament this time of the year, but when you're building towards what you're doing now, is there a different change in process or anything like that? I'm just very curious about that. When you know you're going Division I, but unlike people might not actually know, you don't necessarily change year to year. You have to wait. It's a process.
Yeah, and so, you can't, even if we won the conference tournament, we wouldn't have been able to go, but we did play in the CBI last year. But I think more importantly, instead of changing the process, we're just more focused on the process during that time. Just, hey, let's get better daily. Let's continue to learn and grow in Division I. Last year we had a 21 season, despite the fact not being tournament eligible. And the first year in Division I, we won 18 games with an entirely Division II roster. So incredibly proud of our guys and the toughness and fortitude that they had during that time. And we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for those guys forging through those fires.
Coach, and we're talking to Grant Leonard, the head coach at Queens. They'll be playing Purdue in the first round on Friday night in the NCAA tournament. What do you see when you watch the Boilermakers on tape right now?
First of all, I think they've been one of the 5 best programs in college basketball in the last decade. and their excellence it's in everything they do. And for the first thing that sticks out, especially in that last game versus Michigan, the physicality is incredible. How they set screens, how they duck in, all those things is awesome. Then obviously I think they have one of the 5 best players in America, and I voted their point guard to be first team All-American in my ballot for the NABC. And then they have phenomenal shooting. And what's incredible is they actually take more long twos than maybe anyone in the country, and they're the most efficient offense in America. So I hope no one thinks the mid-range is dead, because Purdue is keeping it alive and well.
Coach, you kind of hit on it a little bit there, but Braden Smith's ability to quarterback at all, what do you see from him as just a pure point guard?
First off, he's probably the smartest kid in America basketball-wise. I mean, you just can't speed him up, and he's seen every coverage and carved all of them up. So, he's an incredible player. And the one thing I love about him is you can tell he plays for his teammates. And he's always trying to get guys the ball in their spots, and he does an unbelievable job of that. He's been an incredible player for many years, and hats off to him, because he wasn't the most highly recruited kid, and we got a bunch of kids like that in our team, and you can just see it doesn't matter. He just works and works, and hats off to him for that.
That is Grant Leonard, again, the head coach of Purdue's opposition, coming up on Friday night in St. Louis. It's Queens in their first year eligible to make the tournament. They do indeed do that. 3 seed, I believe, in the conference tournament, Coach. Chris Ashby, a guard for you, shot the ball 19 times in your conference championship overtime win. He made 10 of those 19 3-point attempts. Is this the neat on a day of green? Does he have the greenest green light you've ever seen?
He's got an ultra green light. That's not even the most threes he's taken in a game for us. He took 26 last year at Central Arkansas. And, the best thing about Chris is a very, when I say not recruited kid, man, no one really thought he could play at this level. And he comes here. He's the all-time leading 3-point makes in Queens history, second all-time in A-Sun history, top 50 all-time in NCAA history. He's an incredible kid. And the best part about it, he has the best practice pace of any player I've ever coached in 20-plus years. Every single rep, even if it's 7 a.m., when I'm sneaking in the back door to get to my office, and I walk in, and every morning he's in there 7 a.m. shooting game speed every single rep. He's an amazing kid, and now he's going to get to do it on a national stage.
He's shooting 38% from 3 on basically 9 attempts a game.
I love it.
Oh, I love it. They say Steph Curry ruined basketball, but I'm not so sure. Grant Leonard, again, we're talking to the Queens head coach. They're facing Purdue on Friday in the NCAA tournament. Coach, when you look at what this run has meant to your program, not just the players on the team, but the surrounding community and things like that, when you're kind of looked at as the underdog in these situations, and I don't know, you obviously you have to play the game and you go out there to win, and I don't want to write you off, but what has that meant to get to this point, and how excited is your community for this opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing. It again, for our program and our players, for our families, for the entire school, which people are learning about. And, hey, is it in New York? No, it's actually in Charlotte. And I love that. It's cool that, again, that conversation's even happening, and the community of Charlotte is really behind us, and everyone gets to share in this. It's the first, right? And we're really proud to represent who we are in this game. It's going to be an incredibly difficult game, okay? Purdue is phenomenal. But for our guys, it's about proving that they belong. And hopefully this isn't the only time we do this. Hopefully we get to go back to the tournament. But just really proud of what we accomplished, and hopefully we got a little more to do.
Coach, I'm very familiar with the city of Charlotte. I've worked there quite a bit, and your campus is kind of nestled into a beautiful older part of the city, which is not too far from the city center or uptown, and it's green. There are a lot of trees. It's very cool. It's an older type neighborhood. But how often do you guys have to correct people and say, no, we're Queens in Charlotte, not Queens in New York?
Yeah, less and less by the day, right? But it still happens. But Myers Park, the neighborhood we're in, man, if you get on Zillow, don't feel bad. You're probably not going to be able to live there because I don't live there. I live the next neighborhood over, but it's amazing. And again, the recognition that something like this does. Our school has over 3 billion hits on media, social media, newsprint articles in the last week, and unbelievable that kind of publicity's happened. And so proud of our guys, from Buddy the street dog to every one of our players. They all share in this.
Coach, you stole it right out of my mouth. Buddy the street dog is a legend in your neck of the woods, and I think will be introduced to the nation here. Could you fill our audience in on Buddy the street dog?
Yeah, summer's a fun time. You're practicing and you don't play a game for months, right? So, we're trying to get our guys to compete and really go at each other. And so, our players are saying that they're dogs. And so one of our assistants goes, well, what kind of dog are you? And he didn't mean Rottweiler. He goes, are you a Petco dog? Are you spoiled? Or are you a street dog who fights for your stuff? And they're like, we're street dogs. So then, I found Buddy on the internet and said, we're going to adopt the street dog. And then the guy who does the tough stuff every game, not the leading scorer, but the guy who does the big time box outs or takes a charge or dives on the floor, those energy plays that change a game, that guy wins Buddy for that game. And just embodies our spirit. He's kind of our spirit animal.
That's pretty cool, man.
I love that. Do you know Matt Painter at all?
When I say that, like, a lot of us coaches know each other. Coach Painter and I have talked once or twice on the road. Whether he actually knows me, I don't know. But I can tell you this, he's an incredible example of how to build a program and what he represents coaches at the highest level. I've seen him speak multiple times in coaching settings and how he's handled this NIL to still talk about building a program and being a leader of men is an example to all of us coaches. I look up to Coach Painter. We had a discussion about basketball a few years ago at Brewster Academy when he was recruiting one of your big fellas. And I just think he's an incredible, incredible coach.
A lot of fun to watch him, and we're looking forward to watching the game on Friday night. And, Coach, thanks for filling us in a little bit more on what we'll be watching. Pleasure to talk to you.
No, thank you, guys. From Charlotte to Indianapolis, I hope we've won some fans here, and go Royals.
Thanks, Coach.
Grant Leonard, head coach of the Charlotte Royals. Yeah.
Good dude.
He talked about Myers Park, which is there on the one edge of Myers Park. That's where Drake May went to high school.
There
Myers
you go.
Park. So there's your random tie-in right there. Has nothing to do with us, but he said Myers Park, and I immediately thought, hey, Drake May.
Boy, they shoot the three, and they shoot it a lot. That's the greatest equalizer, so Purdue will have to defend that.
3-point attempts in one basketball game.
I love the question, though, and the
you got
answer.
teams that don't shoot 26 threes in one game.
Yeah.
Teams.
They're going to get them up.
That's why I love the question about does he have the green light, and he goes, oh, he's got the ultimate green light.
You imagine what he's rocking to class today down there at Queens? I mean, man, the green and Chris Ashby's closet there. But, boy, I enjoyed that combo. Mark, maybe we can cut some of that up for people that missed it. I thought some of those Purdue comments were great. Voting Braden Smith. Braden All-American is probably what you could call him, but voting Braden Smith for a first-team All-American there. And, again, James, when you asked him that question about, just kind of what it means to your university, I mean, the 3 billion, Butler, for example, they still have seen reciprocals from that Final Four run.
Yeah, for sure.
From an enrollment standpoint and just an eyeball standpoint there. So pretty cool for a program like that to get to experience this. And Friday night, 7:35, True TV. And for Purdue fans that are heading over for the game, I know we get this sometimes in the tournament. Your tip time says one thing, and then you tip like 40 minutes later because of all the delays throughout the day. I believe Purdue's the first game of the night session there. Like, I don't think they'll have something bumping them necessarily later in the day. So just a little FYI for Purdue fans.
The annual adventure to find True TV on your television.
I looked it up last night to DVR, 1164 on UVerse.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
and that's tonight, right? Are we True TV for the play?
I believe
tonight?
so, yeah.
And I've watched it for the Caitlin Clark. Some of those games have been on True TV.
Yeah, I think I have DirecTV. I think it's in the 240s. Does that sound right? 246, 247, something like that.
I'm a YouTube TV guy. Not so sure, but
Same.
just speak to your remote. Hey, go to True TV.
From
I
Brandon,
do it where you set the favorite channel, and then I always forget about it after the tournament. And Ashley's like, why the hell do you have True TV as like a favorite? It's like one of the first things that pops up. I go, yeah, turn that off now. We don't need to watch 10 hours of Impractical
ESPN
Jokers.
Tournament Challenge app that I download every year. I fill out my bracket, by the way. Men's and women's, one and done for each. That's it.
I like that. This from Brandon, impressive guy, didn't feel fake. I agree.
Yeah, no.
That felt genuine there. And boy, that's wild. Division II assistant.
Mm-hmm.
And the head coach goes and takes the Wisconsin-Milwaukee job, so then he gets not just bumped up. Can you imagine UIndy, for example, going from D2 to D1, and in that first year, the D2 assistant gets promoted because, whatever, Scott Heddy takes the Butler job.
That is some divine timing right there.
He's been at Queens since 2013, did a couple of 4 years as an assistant and then an assistant head coach for about 5-6 years, and now he's the head coach for the last couple of years, and he's got him into the NCAA tournament. So good job out of him. And we were talking about wearing green this morning. Mark, you're rocking an Oregon T-shirt. You've got a legitimate from Ireland rugby shirt on. Very impressive, Kevin. James and I both missed the boat, but Scotty is rocking. You'd appreciate this. Have you seen him yet this morning, Mark?
I have not, no.
He is rocking the classic green uniform, hat, and everything for the Oakland A's.
Look at that.
He looks like Eckersley coming out of the bullpen.
Man, probably just as efficient, too.
He might be needed for the WBC tonight.
He might.
Yeah.
Scotty will throw some heat.
He's got some sixth inning in him, doesn't he? Middle relief.
He's got some bulldog. Yeah. He'll charge the mound.
He's a street dog. Yeah, Scotty will do it. All right, let's check it down, Mark Dyckman.
The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Going to start by reminding you that the Fan Invitational 2026 golf outing will be April 30th at Legends Golf Club down in Franklin. Mark your calendars down for that. Proceeds benefit the Franciscan Health Foundation. That's presented by Franciscan Health, obviously. You can get one-of-a-kind experiences, bidding on sports memorabilia and more at the silent auction. You can have long drive contests, closest to the hole contests, and you're going to set up on 15 again and just knock the snot out of a golf ball for everybody?
I'll knock the snot out of some beers and some Mondos. I don't know about a golf ball, but Mark Dyckman and I will be posted up.
More often than not, though, I watched your drives. You're more often than not in the fairway. I like that about that. So check that out. Again, go to 1075thefan.com. You can register as an individual. You can register as a team, whatever you want to do. 1075thefan.com. Slots are starting to fill up now, and April 30th. Think about nice springtime, happy weather, not what we got outside right now. It'll be in the 70s by the weekend, by the way, James.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Big weekend coming up for not only the college basketball scene around here with Purdue facing Queens on Friday, but Saturday I'll be at Newcastle for semi-state. So should be a great, great day.
I feel like we've gotten every version of weather we possibly can in less like 72 hours. And now it's going to be 70 at the end of the week.
We're really testing these high school gyms to go from the heater one week to the AC unit the next week there. So we might need to open up those windows up there up top at Newcastle.
I tell you what, when the world ends, Newcastle will still be there.
I like it. First four begins tonight. NCAA tournament, UMBC taking on Howard in the first game. And then Texas goes against North Carolina State in the second game tonight. I know it's not on your bracket, but who you got in these games, Kevin Bowen? I don't know anything about either UMBC or Howard this year, other than their record.
Let's go with Howard and Antoine Bethea go there. Let's go with Howard, and then Cam Heide. He'll hit a corner three. Texas will beat NC State. Will Wade, right? For NC State. Actually watched them. Notre Dame beat them, so they can't be any good.
Will Wade and Sean Miller. A couple of wiretap FBI things going on there, aren't there, Kevin?
I actually can't wait for tomorrow night. I don't pick the play-in. I don't necessarily believe it's a tournament, but I want to see Miami Ohio win tomorrow night.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see that story continue here into the actual bracket.
They will play SMU, and the winner gets to go into the next round as an 11 seed. And they'll play A.J. DeBonsa and BYU, whoever wins that game.
Ooh, that's going to be a good one. A.J. DeBonsa, he's been, I think, gotten better at this point in the season, so can he put his team on his back?
As we talked about a moment ago, Purdue plays their first-round game on Friday night, 7:35 in St. Louis against Queens. We just heard from their head coach, Grant Leonard, on that one. Man, did he have effusive praise for Braden Smith. Talked about one of the best 5 players in all of college basketball, so we'll see how Friday night plays out. Pacers and Knicks go tonight, and the question is everybody except Pascal Siakam going to play, James Boyd? What are we looking at? A bunch of guys questionable, Siakam out?
He's doubtful right now. I know that Andrew Nembhard, I believe, is questionable. Aaron Neese is questionable, so we will see later today.
All right, they play the Knicks, 7 o'clock airtime, 7:30 tip time. You can hear it live right here on 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. Garrett Winiger is leaving Fishers High School after a state championship a couple of seasons ago, a state runner-up last year, 132-25, but only 3 of those losses over the last 3 seasons, James Boyd.
Yeah, from what I understand, he's going, to an Iowa prep school, correct?
Mm-hmm. An EYBL Nike school that's on that Nike circuit. He'll be coaching the freshmen and sophomores at a program there. Keith Smart coaches the juniors and seniors, Kevin Bowen. So we'll be seeing a lot of really young high school talent go in there. A lot of some of the top players.
Yeah, and honestly, my first thought last time I saw this is, what does it mean for Cooper Zachary's senior year? What does it mean for Jason Gardner Jr.'s senior year? I'm not naive to the climate we're in right now. It's not a guarantee that even the high schoolers are stay at their respective schools, and they probably want what Garrett Winiger wants, and that's to continue to progress to upper levels of coaching or basketball. So I get it. I don't love it. I understand it.
I need Cooper and Jason to post the graphic of I'm staying. We've seen it at the college level now with NIL. I need that to fill my soul up this weekend.
Isn't it part of it those kids want to kind of finish what they've started together with this incredible run?
Well, those 2 kids are so good that they might be thinking, hey, I got to get ready for the next level. So I can't blame them for that either.
I'll be honest, James. I don't know if I want that at the high school level. I feel like it's only a matter of time before we get NIL.
Oh, it's a thing in Illinois already.
Yeah,
Seriously.
A couple of states have that already.
It kind of makes me get a little queasy. I feel like I just took another car bomb.
Now, that's your 3rd this morning, right?
Mark's, I think, had 4 or 5 based off his effort today.
Don't get me started.
Mark
again.
started at 4:30 this morning and just has kept right on rolling.
Tripping over the leprechaun box in the living room and all that stuff. Yeah.
I think the Braden Smith draft pick might have been a panic move, too. He was just scrambling to find somebody. He's just like, I just got to go Braden Smith.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily blame him, though. At least Braden Smith is playing basketball currently, so that helps.
I've written a note for myself. I said, draft someone who is playing. We'll see if that holds. Kamar Baldwin is on my honorable mention, though.
Sticky note on your computer in there?
I like Kamar. We enjoyed getting to know him, didn't we, Mark?
He was awesome.
He was great. He used to come in here as an intern.
He's an intern,
yeah.
I was going to say, he came in here all the time.
Love him. We've got NFL news. The Jets have traded Justin Fields to the Kansas City Chiefs for a 2027 sixth rounder. Insurance in case Patrick Mahomes is not quite ready to go at the beginning of the season?
That's what I would assume. Yeah, I think that makes sense if you're Kansas City there. And so, yeah, that one kind of checks out for me. And
Justin Fields might walk to Kansas City. If you're saying you get to leave the Jets and go to Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, he'd be like, okay, I'll start walking.
You're curious if this has any sort of, are we moving on to kind of the next stage of quarterbacks? And what does that mean for Anthony Richardson and a trade candidate?
Do we have another wave towards the middle end of the week of NFL free agency signings with everyone? Because there's still a lot of folks out there.
Calling it a wave would probably be a little bit too much. Whatever like a ripple would be in the bathtub is probably what I would call it.
Throw pebbles in the river.
Thank you. Yes. Bread to the ducks, Mark.
Bobby Okereke is still out there. If you need some linebacker help.
I think that can make sense, actually.
I was looking at the linebackers. Okereke's out there, and older Bobby Wagner is available. Anybody else you see on those lists that really excites you?
No, for me, probably not. But
I mean,
Bobby, I don't necessarily. But Bobby, I could be okay with. And again, I'm more concerned about the edge rushers.
I've said Jermaine Pratt as a return candidate.
Yeah,
I'd
sure.
be fine with. But yes, to James's point, edge rushers definitely the bigger concern.
All right. That's what's happening in the National Football League. World Baseball Classic championship game is tonight. Mason Miller may or may not be available for the United States. He has been a lights-out closer. That's what he does. He was good for them so far in this tournament. They'll play Venezuela, who rallied to beat Italy 4-2 last night. And, Mark, you will have this on one of your screens this evening, right?
Multi-view.
Any predictions on the WBC tonight?
USA. Of course.
I like that. Speaking of Team USA, the women's basketball team and Caitlin Clark play again. They'll go up against Spain at 5 p.m. tonight, and that's another True TV or Sling TV or James doing things on the internet game.
Yeah, no, it says here on the official website, True TV and HBO Max.
All right. I'll be watching an HBO Max probably tonight, so look forward to that one. Anything else you guys want to throw in before we head to break here?
I think you've covered it.
All right, that's what's happening in the world of sports. Mark Dykton and I will what are we going to be doing next, Mark? What do you have up your sleeve?
I know we got a question on the text line about Thad Matta and some potential replacements for Butler. So
I think we'll talk about that. That's next, 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
It is St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day to all who observe. Mark Dykton got started, 1 o'clock this morning, 2 o'clock this morning. It seems earlier and earlier the way things go.
Still going, all-nighter. As soon as that clock hit midnight.
Kevin has introduced us to a drink that James and I didn't even know existed before today. You were all over it, though.
Oh, those are old. Yeah, those are the old college days. Irish car bombs, Jaeger bombs, bombs on everything. Guinness, Killian's.
Well, if you're going to drink, make sure you got a good base in you. Cluster Chuck, excellent for that.
Yeah,
What
good
a
job.
transition.
I'm about halfway
Look at
done
you.
with my chicken Caesar wrap. Big fan. The promo code there, big fan, $5 off. And I love the Dunk Fest this time of year. 2 pounds of chicken strips, cheesy bread, chips and queso, churros. Great if you're gathering some people to watch some games. They've got that available during March Madness. Thank you to Cluster Truck.
All right, looking forward to that. I got a little chicken apple salad. I'm looking forward to that later on today.
Yes, you are. Chicken apple salad. You know what? Discipline, Jeff. I respect it.
Oh, I was looking hard at the Korean beef today, but I got to start eating better. So summer's
I
coming,
respect.
spring's coming.
You got to get the summer body to
spring's
go.
coming.
Washboard abs, baby.
Speedo time.
He's going to come in here shirtless come June.
There isn't anybody, Mrs. Rickard included, that's looking for Rickard in a Speedo. I can tell you that right now. Nobody.
This from Gary. Butler shortlist. Alex Barlow, Ryan Pedon, Travis Steele, Ronald Nora, John Gross. Can I interest you in any of those?
I did look at Ryan Pedon, Illinois State now. Obviously a lower level.
He was a Holtman assistant, I think.
Yeah, he was an assistant for about, I want to say 3 or 4 years with Holtman. So he has some relationship with the program. Has turned Illinois State into like a winning program, I would say, the last couple of years. So, but I just don't know about that leap when it comes to going from that program to Butler. I probably would want someone with a little more experience, maybe at a bigger name program.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I kind of like John Gross. I mean, he's doing great things at Akron right now. You know a little bit about John Gross, right? Being an Illinois
I
guy.
covered him in Illinois when he got fired and came out and did an interview afterwards, which I thought was ridiculous. Shout out to him. He is the nicest human being ever. And I was thinking, boy, if I ever got fired from anything, I'm never going to do voluntary work afterwards unless I'm ripping the school. But jokes aside, since he's gone to Akron, he has turned that program into a perennial winner. And they've been in the NCAA tournament, not to take a dig, but more often than IU in recent years. So would he want to make that leap as well?
I assume Ronald Norad is probably viewed as the favorite just because, A, he's got direct time. I mean, hell, he was sitting courtside a few games ago. I was at that game when he was there. And, when you look at the people in the decision-making process, Grant Leyendecker, their AD, played with Ronald Norad, Gordon Hayward, is their pseudo AD. He obviously played with Ronald Norad as well.
He coached in the NBA as well, so that could be a draw as when it comes to recruiting.
Right. I mean,
I've seen the highest level.
Coached at Brownsburg back in the day, so has a little bit of
the
familiarity.
ties are crazy to Indiana.
But I'll throw that PJ Thompson name out again. Just it's kind of interesting when you look at the Purdue staff under Matt Painter. Not many of them have really progressed to become head coaches. I'm curious about Terry Johnson and Brandon Brantley and some of those other guys. I guess Paul Lusk a little, but some of those other guys that have left. I'm trying to think of the one dude that left and went to somewhere down in South Carolina is popping in my head here. But PJ Thompson from a local standpoint, from Brebeuf, and obviously he's very familiar with the area. His brother, of course, played at Purdue as well and is on that staff. So, is that something if they thought outside of the box on that?
Yeah, I think there's a decent pool of candidates obviously there. And the question is, whoever they hire, the expectation is to get them back to being a competitor in the top third probably of the Big East and a team that makes its appearances in the NCAA tournament again, Kevin. That's what they're looking for over there.
I know Jake asked Tom Crean about the job yesterday. What would you guys think about Tom Crean taking the Butler job?
That's really interesting because I think Tom Crean is a terrific basketball coach. I really do. And I thought his answer was pretty telling too. He didn't know that he necessarily fit into what Butler would necessarily be looking for. But
Meaning?
as a head coach, just a lot of things that Kevin just talked about. They may be looking closer to home, someone with a bigger tie to Butler. But I think Tom Crean is certainly a capable coach that would do a great job at Butler. I'd at least talk to him.
I think he might have been out of it too long for me to really give that serious thought. Like, would you be willing to adjust to NIL, embrace NIL? I'm not saying he wouldn't, but do you want someone who's kind of been in that world already a little bit, or do you want him to kind of come back? Because the last time he coached was in 2022, and the landscape in college basketball has changed drastically since then. So that would be like my biggest concern. But X's and O's wise, yeah, I trust him.
Mark, we had him on, I want to say this time last year, and I thought he mentioned he had interviewed for a Big East opening.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's a couple years ago, now that I'm thinking about this out loud. And I think if we try to connect the dots, I think we thought it was DePaul, which the question I do have, and some people have asked about this, Chris Holtmann. What's a better job, DePaul or Butler?
I would think Butler.
I would think Butler. I mean, I guess I don't know the finances per se, and I get it Chicago versus Indy and things like that. But does Chris Holtmann look at it and say, you know what? I want to go back there. Would Butler be open to that? Would Butler view it and be like, well, or is it just going to be a stepping stone thing again? Is Butler in a point where they can even think like that? Do they just need to get back on a, more of a solid foundation? People brought up Micah Shrewsbury.
How do you feel about that?
I want to see Shrewsbury ride it out, but again, if you're him and you view yourself on a hot seat for this coming season, do you do the Buzz Williams thing? Buzz Williams always mastered the let me get out of the job before they don't like me. 3 years here, 4 years there, 3 years here, 4 years. It was just beautiful job by Buzz Williams with that. Again, is that something that he would do? He obviously went to high school here, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think that's right. If you had to give me who do you think you're going to hire? I'd say NORAD. But, what that list looks like for Grant Linedecker, I'd be very interested in.
Of the guys we just talked about right now, my first three would probably, if you could get Chris Holtmann, I think he understands exactly what Butler basketball is about. I think he's a great head coach. I think he'd be perfect. I do like John Gross, and then I do like NORAD. My biggest concern with him is not a lot of college experience there.
From NORAD?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. But I also wonder if, the youth aspect helps a little bit. He's not that far removed from playing. I believe he's only 36. So would that help you connect with, again, just this new era of basketball that we're in? And is it a selling point as far as recruitment to say I've coached alongside some of the best players in the world? And I think that would be enticing for me if I was a young prospect.
And Holtmann's an interesting name from DePaul, but they've also, what's one thing that they've kind of said about Butler is they need to reinvest in the basketball program. DePaul has done that. They've got a brand new facility opening up in a couple of years. They obviously hired Chris Holtmann to get a culture change going. So I am curious what would be the better job in his eyes, DePaul or Butler.
Which I think is a great debate to get into, Mark, when you see programs make hires. Are there any alums out there that view it as you're not getting into my pocket until you make a change? I'm so fed up with the current situation. I'll start contributing any money or more money if you make a change. I think there are some coaches that say in today's climate, and I don't know if Butler necessarily is one of these situations where if I'm taking this job, I need to be guaranteed this much money up front to build my roster. I mean, I know that sounds kind of crazy, but that's the reality, I think, of college basketball or college football.
And you got to have the discussion before you take the
in
job.
This day and age. So is there anything out there from Butler? And that's where the Thad Matta thing is kind of odd to me. It's like, wait a minute. This time last week, Grant Linedecker seemed to make it pretty clear he was coming back. Is this strictly just Thad thinking about it for 72 hours and leaving? Is this a little bit of pushback from some higher-ups there of like, hey, let's read the writing on the wall. You don't love this era of college basketball. You're probably not going to be our coach 5 to 7 years down the road. Do you really want to keep doing this? All of that seems to be just a little murky with this situation.
Especially when you read in the paper this morning that the players themselves were caught off guard. They were under the impression that Thad was coming back. So they're always the last to know, though. Players always seem to be the last to know. That's what's happening with Butler basketball. They are on the hunt for a new head coach. We'll be back to wrap up the show. Get you ready to go for everything you'll be watching later on tonight as we continue 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
NCAA tournament starts with the first 4 games, 2 of them tonight, 2 of them tomorrow night. We'll talk about those in a minute. But one major NCAA tournament development that we haven't really talked about that much because it doesn't really affect us at this point in time. But your thoughts, Kevin, on Alabama guard Aiden Holloway. He's been removed from the team, excused from campus, arrested Monday on felony drug possession charges, a pound of marijuana. That's a little more than your stash, isn't it?
Yeah, not that I am totally up to date with proper stash numbers when it comes to the Mary Jane, but yes, from what I gather, a pound is quite a bit. And am I allowed to say this? I was happy to see that news because I've got Akron in the Sweet 16.
Wow. So young man is in, he's in trouble right now. Am I allowed to say that
or am I not allowed to?
No, you're allowed.
Is that bad karma?
He's their
Considering what I
scorer.
said today, I think you're fine.
I mean, after what Mark said, I think I'm good.
Yeah, he's their second leading scorer.
Yeah, he's good. They got him and LeBron Philon. Purdue beat Alabama at Alabama earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
So they are in that 4-5 region there, bottom right of your bracket. Michigan is the 1 seed. I think Michigan's got the best draw. I do think Iowa State is a pretty good 2 seed, but Virginia is a 3. An Alabama dude selling a pound of marijuana is a 4. Mark's number 1 draft pick, JT Toppin, is the 5 seed.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty good draw for Michigan playing in Chicago.
Yep. Do you worry about Georgia, though? Potential second-round matchup for Michigan?
Is this basketball or football?
It is basketball, but Georgia's they've had a nice little run the last.
I believe
couple of
Cannon
weeks.
Catchings is at Georgia.
He had a huge game a few weeks back. Yeah, that's a nice pull there. No, is Georgia beating St. Louis?
That's the 8-9. Georgia's been hot. Look, I think Michigan's going to. Obviously, you look at my pick that we had in our little scoring draft a little while ago. I think Michigan is going very deep. But Georgia's just one of those streaky teams. They got guys that can score. They can get just red hot. Those always worry me one time.
I just remember watching Cannon Catchings talk to the crowd years ago at Newcastle, and his coach was telling him, just shut up. The kid is fiery, man. Transferred, I believe, but he can play. So if he gets hot, yeah, he's certainly somebody that can light it up. I think he's shooting like 36% from 3 this year, averaging about 9 points a game, and you never know with those types of players.
Someone that also left his high school early and then went to BYU. And
very good point.
Now, Georgia, happy 32nd birthday, DeForest Buckner.
Nice.
James, there was a little bit of discussion about, hey, what's DeForest Buckner's situation for this coming year, et cetera, et cetera. People have been curious about defensive tackle. If I'm not mistaken, he had quite a big roster bonus due to him over the weekend.
Yeah.
Which he obviously got for being on the Colts roster, like 8, 9, 10 million, something like that. So that, to me, is a foregone conclusion. I didn't have any debate. I thought DeForest Buckner would definitely be back here. But for those that were curious, age of 32, coming off neck surgery, how much are the Colts trying to save money? You've got your answer there. DeForest Buckner will be a Colt here this season. What did Ballard or Steichen, what they say at the Combine, James? Training camp should be good to go?
Yeah, that's the expectation. They expect him to make a full recovery. We'll see where he's at. He's been banged up the last couple of years, but to piggyback off what you talked about in far as DeForest Buckner, he did earn a $10 million roster bonus over the weekend. And then also, Charvarius Ward, if you ever needed more confirmation, his salary for 2026 is now guaranteed at $12.9 million. So he will play in 2026 because they would not pay him that much money if he was not. So I'm very excited to see both of those guys get back out there and be healthy and hopefully stay healthy in the upcoming season.
That's great news for the Colts, as a matter of fact. All right, so viewing tonight, assuming that we all watched the early game of Team USA's women's basketball team with Caitlin Clark at 5, and that's over with, of the things that will be going on simultaneously tonight, rank them 1 through 3, Mark Dykman. World Baseball Classic, first 4 of the NCAA tournament, and the Pacers taking on the Knicks.
You caught me with a mouthful of cluster truck.
Cluster truck or alcohol, one of the two.
What a rough day.
As long as you're not holding your tongue and saying ship.
Easy now.
Mark, you want me to kind of
World Baseball Classic, then the first 4, and then Pacers Knicks.
The Pacers are going to win tonight. Actually,
I get that feeling.
I don't know if I believe that, but
I want it.
The Pacers fans should openly cheer for their basketball team to win tonight. It's the Knicks. They've lost 13 in a row, and they can afford to win some games.
This is true.
Pascal Siakam doubtful for tonight. Yeah, I'll flip over late in the first playing game. Hopefully that game's close. But I'll probably be pretty World Baseball Classic centric. If Zubats plays, I do want to watch more of him. Is Mitchell Robinson good to go for the Knicks?
I've not seen.
Because let's be honest, if that was Miles Turner Friday night, giving up how many rebounds to Mitchell Robinson, you'd have Greg Doyle put him in a Uber to the airport like you did Carson Wentz. Zubats can't be letting Mitchell Robinson have 21 rebound games and what do you have, 9 offensive?
I don't see a ton of 21 rebound games by an individual against Zubats coming anytime soon.
Well, I saw one Friday.
Yeah, how much did he play, though?
Not like he was one and done.
Right. All right, Mark, what's the lineup going to look like in your house?
Well, the only games that are on for a championship tonight are the WBC, so that has to be first and foremost.
So
Nothing
that's the
else
big
is
screen, right?
That's probably big screen.
Now he cares about the World Baseball Classic. Funny how that's turned around.
I know.
I always cared. I just hadn't watched any spring training. Was all I was
watching
saying.
JT Toppin highlights.
Boy, oh boy, it feels like. Is Easter right around the corner? Because I feel like I'm getting crucified today.
Well, it's kind of self-inflicted, a lot of it, though. Wouldn't you agree?
That's true. Yeah, World Baseball Classic, and then, Knicks, Pacers is third for me, and then I'll see who gets in the tournament.
Yeah, I'm going to be watching the Pacers tonight. I haven't really paid close attention to
You're
them.
a sicko.
I know, but
That's your order? Pacers first?
Yeah.
Over the World Baseball.
But I'm like Mark. I've got multiple
we might
screens
have to change our treasonous allegations from Mark to Jeff here.
Rooting for Canada in the Olympics. Now he's not even going to watch the World Baseball Classic.
No, that's not what I said.
Disgusted.
I've got the Pacers one. I've got, like you, I've got multiple screens. I don't have to choose.
That's true.
He lives in a Carmel mansion.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
What is the projection spring deploying today? The 80-foot projection screen.
Wish I had an 80-foot projection screen, but I will put the Pacers on the big screen, and I'll have WBC on the smaller screen.
That cluster truck was tasty, Mark, wasn't it?
Delicious, as always.
Well, as an American, I'll be watching the World Baseball Classic.
Those environments have been rocking the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, they
It's
have.
not like I won't pay attention. I'll be watching it on the other screen. All right, Jay Query comes your way at noon. JMV at 3. Have a great one.